Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. We should start the session now. Hopefully, you didn't have a very rushed lunch today, but we will get started with the AMM now. My name is Gaurav Rajupadhyay, and I'm the chair of the APNIC Executive Council. Today we are getting started with the APNIC Members Meeting, AMM, towards the end of the APNIC Conference Week, along with APRIGF, APSIG, and SGNOG will happen tomorrow in Singapore. So, as usual, all the same settings as before. If you want to say something in the room, please queue up at the microphones. And then if you are on Zoom remotely, please use the raise my hand button, or you can ask questions on the chat when we call for open mic. Having said that, I think we kick this off. Can I get the slides, please?
What slides, Gaurav? Can you hear me, Gaurav? No, you can't hear me. Gaurav, can you hear me? No, his eyes are moving. Sorry. No, you want to take over? You can't hear me. Gaurav, can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you. I was having some audio issues there.
All right, thanks.
Okay, I think we can continue now. Now that we're good here. Thank you, everyone, once again. Kick off. Apologies for the audio issue here. On behalf of the APNIC Executive Council, I'd like to welcome all of you to the AMM. I think we have had a pretty good discussion this morning on the policy SIG and before as well on the other sessions. So, by now, most of you are probably exhausted and are looking forward towards the end of the day. Once again, I think, as I said in the opening speech, this is the first time APNIC has gone hybrid, but there are some learning experiences there for us. We are very glad to be back in this role where we are meeting people in flesh, and hopefully we can continue to do so. But at the same time, I still see 185 participants on Zoom, which is a very good number for a hybrid meeting. I think we have a lot more people online today and during the entire week participating. Before I give forward, we have 6 of our EC members in Singapore, and 2 of our EC members are remote. So I'll do a quick round of introductions here. I'm Gaurav Padhyay, I'm the chair. In my day job, I work for Amazon Prime Video. And then Feng.
Hi.
Feng, can you introduce yourself?
Okay. Hello. I'm the Feng from Beijing. It's a pity that I can't attend the meeting on site, but I'm glad to see you online. Okay.
Paul.
I'm Paul Wilson. I'm the DG and therefore a member of the APNIC EC as well.
Keep going.
Executive Council member of APNIC and Treasurer and CEO of TDM from Taipei. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Showan Ahmed Savir from Bangladesh, City of Agartala Limited, and APNIC EC. Thank you.
This is Cam Xiao. I was from Hong Kong, but I now live in Singapore. I'm also one of the EC members.
Hi, I am Achia Chensa from Philippines. I work for Globe Telecom and also chair of Philippine Networks Operators Group. In EC, I'm also the secretary. Thank you.
This is Yoshinobu Matsuzaki from Japan, serving as an EC member. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I hope the members there in Singapore and participants there in Singapore got a chance to meet the EC yesterday night in the Meet the EC social event. But you can also meet us later on. And of course, as always, we are available for discussion or reaching out through my APNIC and any other media. Before we go on, we have a pretty tight schedule today as well, multiple things. The APNIC Secretariat has been working pretty diligently for the last year, despite COVID and everything else. We have seen more active participation and things getting normalized in the last few months, but I think it's still a very slow slope up. But despite all of that, I think, as I said in the opening, the feedback from the members has been very, very positive when it comes to APNIC work. Similarly, we have undertaken a bit more work that we kind of discussed in the policy seg, things around how do we increase or make it easier for more and more people to use RPKI. There has been a couple of times where hijackings have turned to be a bigger, more impactful and becoming more common. Similarly, we also have seen, as this morning, the discussion on IPv6. It's been many, many years, but still catching up. I think there's some more work for us to do. And then we've also, I think a lot of you may not have seen or may have seen, we've kind of, the number of things on the APNIC website and the resources that is available for our members have grown quite tremendously. I myself am a big fan of the NetOX and the stats and things on the APNIC website. So do take a look at those above and beyond what generally traditionally folks have just used the APNIC website for WHOIS. But I think we are doing more than just WHOIS now, and that is something it is. I think as a community and as APNIC we should be proud of. There's quite a lot of other activities, so I will invite Paul to present the APNIC activity report for 2022 for the last 6 months.
Thank you, Gareth. Thanks everyone for being here. Apologies if we're all a little bit rusty after 2.5 years. There've been a few small glitches this morning and during the week. But thank you so much for coming. This, of course, is the highlight of the week where you get to hear all about what's been happening at the Secretariat, at the EC, finance report, activity report, and all of that, and also a series of summaries of what's happened during the week. So I am here to present the Secretariat report, which covers the activities of the Secretariat essentially since the beginning of the year, for the calendar year of 2020 to date. The stats are up to the statistics in this report are up to date to the end of July in general. So it's more or less a half year and a bit of the activities of the Secretariat. It's been a very busy year for the Secretariat. We've had a lot of changes and sort of unpredictable changes over the last couple of years with the unpredicted cessation of travel, or the length of the cessation of travel, the return to travel, which has definitely been happening during this year. During all this time, we've been watching rates of new members, member closures and so on, also a little unpredictable. But in general, we've been keeping up the same level of planned activities as we have done over the years and as planned for this year. So it has been a really busy year, and I want to start by acknowledging all the efforts of the APNIC staff who have been working exceptionally hard this year amid all that uncertainty, amid the sort of tail end, we hope, of COVID, but still with some unpredictable effects. We're still working to the strategic plan of APNIC, which has been current from 2020 to 2023. That will be we'll be reworking that plan with the EC next year for the next 4 years. But under this current plan, we've got these 5 strategic pillars of membership, registry, development, information, and capability. And under those pillars, we have all of our work streams and activities. So you'll see in this report that I'm reporting according to those 5 and according to the work streams underneath them. So there's a bit of vision and mission here on this classic sort of diagram here. We've got a vision of a global open, stable, and secure internet, a mission to provide essential services as a regional internet registry and to support the internet development in the Asia Pacific region. And we've got values of passion, trust, curiosity, accountability, and inclusion, because we're all APNIC and that's what we believe in. So starting with the membership pillar, this starts with a member services work stream. And as you see here, we have, as of the date of this report, just exceeded 9,000 direct APNIC members. The NIRs, on the other hand, have been very busy and have reached a total of 13,400 accounts registered under the NIRs, for a total of, what is that? It's about 22,000 organizations which are served by APNIC in total around the region. Our service satisfaction is great, excellent and above average to a high degree. We meet our SLAs, a 48-hour turnaround for member services. We have very active feedback collected from the community, 1,700 items received. 406 of those were items we could do something with. They were all actioned and resolved. We're engaging from the member services area with members around the region, 20 economies with 159 separate recorded engagements. And these are substantial conversations with members about service issues like, as it says here, RPKI transfers, technical assistance, historical resource transition, something that we've spoken about this week. We're watching fraud attempts on the APNIC registry, with people trying their hardest to get some additional IPv4 address space, mostly sometimes by some tricky means, but we keep an eye on that as well. You're going to be hearing shortly about the APNIC survey. We got 1,622 responses, and it's a great result. And I won't steal Brenda's thunder. She's going to be coming and delivering that shortly. Now, the historical resources transition process, which is underway at the moment, that's very active. We've got 3,500 historical resource holders. We're actively still working on 2,900 of those, holding a total of more than 5.5 million IPv4 addresses amongst them. And we're progressively working through them, declaring them to be either completely uncontactable because of having no details available to us whatsoever. There are prefixes being claimed by resource holders, some 1 million or so of them in the process of being claimed and documented now. Prefixes that have been returned to APNIC, not too many, but it's good to have those addresses back in the APNIC pools. And plenty of prefixes, 400,000 to 78 of those resource holders, those prefixes being retained and brought into current registration status. which is the whole point of this exercise. So whether the prefixes are coming back to the APNIC free pool because they're unused, or whether they're going out, whether they're unused and going out onto the market, this is all good because it means that all of the registrations are going to be up to date and maintained from this point onwards. Now, we also have membership products under our membership pillar. This includes APNIC, the APNIC portal, My APNIC. It includes the APIs, the single sign-on login that's been under development, and those associated services. So we did complete this login migration for more than 60,000 APNIC login holders during this year, and that provides a single sign-on to, well, we hope all of the APNIC services that you might need to be authenticated for using one single sign-on. That includes even accessing EduRoam for access to the internet. If you're a member of the Academy, if you've completed Academy courses, you can use your SSO to get that access. We've been working on the election system. We've been working on the automation of certain processes within the membership products for historical resource holders, of course, because we're going to be bringing quite a few hundred, if not thousand, resource holders into membership status over the rest of this year and possibly into next. Membership automation of the graduation process for least developed countries. So as you may know, there's a discount, and members from least developed countries are tracked in our systems. They're provided with a discount, and those LDCs do actually graduate into out of LDC status, and we need to keep a track of that. My APNIC availability has been 4 nines, 99.99%, and a high level of user satisfaction as one of APNIC's membership products. Moving on to the registry, the main activities here, of course, are delegating resources. So we've been tracking resource delegations for as long as APNIC has existed. They've been up and down in interesting ways. The IPv4, the number of IPv4 delegations peaked back in the mid 2010s on this chart, and it's recovering, in fact, so that projected by the end of the year, we'll have a substantial increase on the number of delegations which have been made compared with previous years. IPv6 is maintaining a pretty steady high rate of allocation. The ASN chart there is a little bit curious because last year there were a couple of very large block ASN allocations to large networks and NIRs in South Asia and East Asia, giving us a Mount Everest in the middle there, but that's returning to normal for this year, it seems. The transfer services are quite unpredictable as well. So you see here market transfers, intra-RIR transfers, and mergers and acquisitions. And in terms of the number of transfers that take place and also the size of transfers in addresses, it's very hard to see a pattern there, but it is a pretty active area of activity with well, tens of transfers happening every week and needing the attention of services staff. The registry pillar has got a registry products work stream working on APIs for access to registry services. There's an API for NIRs, which has been developed and deployed in beta mode during this year, and it's under test. There is also a registry API for general registry services for general members that's being deployed for public testing, and we've got the production API, in fact, for both of those being scheduled for next year. RDAP is being upgraded to comply with the NIR's RDAP profile. We have a high level 4 nines availability for who is RDAP, RPKI, RDNS, and IRR. We've got an additional functionality in My APNIC to help you to validate route management entries so that you're not entering details for IRR or ROAs, which is inconsistent, for instance, with what's seen in the routing system. That sometimes happens and can cause some problems. So we're trying to avoid those, help you to avoid those. I've mentioned 4 nines a couple of times for our average availability so far. But we're aiming higher. We're looking for 5 nines for critical services and to complete that next year, subject to some budget that needs to be allocated for that. But this year we've been identifying the highly critical services, which will have a 5 nines ambition, and we've completed gap analysis so that we can budget for that work to be done next year. It's quite a substantial amount of work because, of course, 5 nines equates to a few minutes of downtime for the whole year, and that's a high availability target. Policy development. Well, we've just had a really great policy session. The first meeting this year was also a good one. We had 4 policy proposals for the first meeting. 3 of them have been implemented already. One of them was presented for discussion only. It might come back a bit later. This time around, just today, we saw 4 policy proposals, and it seems we've got consensus on 2 of those actually. So that's the latest news on policy from today. Okay, the development pillar. It's a very active and growing area of APNIC activity, primarily because of additional resources which are being received through the APNIC Foundation and the Development Trust. Up until just a few years ago, APNIC members were completely responsible and very generous actually in supporting all of the training and technical assistance and a bit of infrastructure development that APNIC was doing. And our survey has always shown demand for more and more of that stuff, but without increasing member fees, of course. So the money had to come from somewhere, and so we're actually achieving that now, and the development pillar really is growing. The conferences this year, we had a pretty successful online conference with Apricot earlier in the year with 886 attendees. This time, APNIC 54, the first face-to-face, and I have to say this has been a fantastic meeting as far as I've seen. It's been it's had a real buzz about it, and I really thank everyone for bringing the energy to this meeting, which was co-located, and this helped. It was co-located with APRIGF, with APSIG, and with SGNOG tomorrow, and it's the first face-to-face for a while. So we'll be back into the face-to-face mode from this time onwards. Now, community engagement, we continue and have continued to be as actively engaged. This refers to engagement by the APNIC organisation, by the Secretariat, out into the community. And we've attempted to do that and to maintain our levels of engagement from the Secretariat as actively as we can right through COVID. And that now is coming back to face-to-face engagement, we're glad to say, but nevertheless, we've been very active. So there are 227 separate engagement opportunities or events that have happened during the course of this year. 104 of those have been training. So that's a pretty active level of activity for the Secretariat across the community. These things are analysed and broken down according to the sub-region, the type of engagement, the timing, and so forth. So we're keeping a very good eye to make sure that our community engagements are kind of well distributed, and that we're paying attention on the topics that matter where that's needed. Part of our engagement is the engagement of APNIC staff and experts in the technical community. So we've had 12 separate technical community events that we've supported this year, 8 of them being network operator groups. This is either in sponsorship, providing speakers, training, some or all of the above, JANOG, OSNOG, PHNOG, BDNOG, SANOG, IDNOG, providing some more technical support, including, for instance, webcast for a couple of other community events around the region. And then separately and additionally, 12 security events. This includes a couple of quarterly, well, 2 so far this year, quarterly threat sharing events around which include the HoneyNet partners. And we've also at those events provided security training at 4 of them. So that is something you'll hear about in the APNIC survey as security is obviously a top of the list kind of priority for APNIC members, and a high demand, a high expectation on APNIC that we should be able to help with that. Internet cooperation, both the cooperation that we have with other internet organizations and participation in the regional and global internet governance activities, That's another area of this development pillar. So we've been pretty active in the NRO this year. We've got the NRO has a rotating chairing arrangement. So I've had the dubious privilege of chairing the NRO EC this year, but APNIC senior staff have also been chairing coordination groups in the different areas of coordination across the RARs. We've been participating in other technical community activities like the OECD's Internet Technical Advisory Group, the Internet Technical Community Coordination Group, which is convened more or less by the Internet Society. Of course, participating in other RIR events, in ICANN, IETF events, and talking about ICANN, there's the root service governance working group, the root zone evolution working group, the Security and Stability Advisory Committee, where we're trying to help across all of these areas and staying quite active doing so. And of course, APNIC has been in need of support over this last period, and we've been providing strong support to them as well. We do think that support for APNIC is absolutely critical, as APNIC being one of 5 of the RIRs and whose stability is critical to all of us, actually. So that's very much on behalf, we feel, of the APNIC community and our interest in a stable internet, that we really do want to see APNIC continue without interruption. On the internet governance side, well, we've had APR IGF here this week with APNIC 54. A lot of activities have gone into supporting that, and I think it seems to have been a very successful exercise. We're also quite involved with the global IGF. It's coming up in Addis Ababa later in the year. We're involved with the multi-stakeholder advisory group of the IGF, and also the Support Association, the policy network on internet fragmentation. And also from the global to the regional, there are also IGF events at the national level, and we have also provided support or participation in events which have happened in Australia, in Vietnam, Myanmar, Taiwan, Vietnam again. Now, continuing on, another activity within development is government engagement. The ITU, the International Telecommunications Union, has held a rapid fire series of major conferences as we come out of COVID, and in just a couple of weeks from now, there'll be the plenipotentiary meeting coming up, and some of us, a couple of APNIC staff, excluding myself, going to be participating in that. But there's also been the Standardization Assembly, the Development Assembly, and some. I mean, these are all talk fests in a sense, but we also try to keep it practical with the ITU and with the APT, which is the ITU's regional representation. And we've worked with them on the IXP in Samoa, which has been a long time coming, but which we hope will be completed soon, and on some practical technical training in Mongolia and Myanmar. There's been a lot of interest in increasing interest in training for LEAs, that is law enforcement agents, in this case through Cyber Safety Pacifica, which is a Pacific event, which is training and webinars for them, as well as on a similar line, presentation and assisting with capacity building at Interpol events through the Singapore Interpol office. More general community participation. Newcomers are always welcome at APNIC, and I'm very glad to see that we are managing to reach more and more and to support more and more newcomers, and those newcomers are being also welcome to become active participants, and that's been fantastic to see. So we supported 30 fellows this time around, 50-50 gender balance, only 14 of them returning. So that's an opportunity to come back if you've been a fellow before, but also there's also a focus there on newcomers. And they've worked hard attending webinars and working with mentors, also volunteers from the community. We're working in coordination with what we call elected leaders, kind of an informal term, and something that will probably be formalized more. These are the people elected by the community to lead groups like the special interest groups, which formally have chairs and co-chairs. also representatives on the Address Council, the Number Council, and so forth. And we're coordinating with those. And you heard a little bit, may have heard a few references to the elected leaders group as part of the Nomination Review Committee proposal, which was heard yesterday. Last on this slide, but definitely not least, is the Orbit platform. So there was a seminar, a BOF, sorry, last night about Orbit, which is the new more social oriented and screen oriented way to participate in APNIC mailing lists. That's something we hope will bring more participation and community participation involvement in APNIC lists and in those communities online, and improve participation as well. And so, yeah, that MVP, the minimal viable product, which was launched yesterday at APNIC at the BOF yesterday, will be subject to ongoing development. And those who are interested, please join in with the list on Orbit, which is about the further development of Orbit. Okay, the APNIC Academy. We've been very busy with the Academy. You see the table on the right there shows what 2,300 students in instructor-led courses this year, 4,300 in self-paced courses, for a total of about 22,000 registered students on the Academy, covering 48 economies in this period of time. They've spun up 4,500 virtual labs, spending an average of an hour on each. And there've been, in addition, 90 instructor-led courses with and a great many course completions on the Academy as well. So there've been updates to network security courses, which are in high demand from the APNIC membership. There've been there's new validators for the RPKI to the RPKI system from APNIC Labs. There's rebuilt DNS and DNSSEC labs on the Academy as well. Technical assistance is the provision of a little more help to people who might attend APNIC training and find that they need or feel that they need more help for their particular situation. And so we've had the chance to help to directly help just 10 members, but to significantly help them with challenges like RPKI and DNSSEC and so forth, generally in combination with APNIC training that they've received. Eduroam, as I mentioned, now available to eligible Academy users. And last but not least, 30 community trainers are now on the books at APNIC. 4 of them are committed and receive retainers for their services. And they are helping with many of the APNIC instructor-led trainings which are happening around the region. And welcome to those community trainers who are here this week. RPKI is another work stream under the development pillar, and it's a program of technical support for the deployment of RPKI. So we're providing training and tutorials. Of course, we're providing technical assistance in RPKI. We held a deployathon for RPKI at OSNOG during this year. We're publishing deployment case studies on the APNIC blog. So if you want to understand more about how RPKI is being used around the region, that's available there as a kind of a formal case study. And there are 20 RPKI blog posts released this year as well. And similarly, IPv6 is another program of support for that particular technical activity. Similarly, so we've had tutorials, 19 online tutorials this year. We're doing data collection and reporting. We can report 38% capability across the Asia Pacific for IPv6. As you see, that line is just continuing to travel upwards, and we're happy to see that. It's not a very rapid growth of IPv6, but it is steady, and it's been continuing that way for quite a few years now. So it's good to see that, but we do need to keep up the effort. And APNIC members are more and more receiving IPv6 from APNIC and presumably putting those into deployment. And again, we've had deployment stories on IPv6. We've had IPv6 tagged blog posts, and on the podcast, the APNIC Ping podcast, there's been stories on IPv6 as well. There's other concrete support that's given to internet infrastructure around the region. That's particular types of infrastructure which are of interest and use in a neutral fashion to the members to whom they're available in a particular geographic location mostly, but these include root servers, and we're working with Wide on MRoot deployment. There've been just 3 root servers deployed this year out of a lot more which have been planned, but due to COVID-related supply chain delays and recruiting delays, we can count 11 root server deployments still in progress, hopefully to be completed by the end of this year. IXPs, still supporting IXPs where we can. The Maldives IX is waiting on equipment again. Surprise, surprise. The Samoa IX is also, I think, in the same boat for that matter. The community HoneyNet and threat sharing platform continues to attract new members. So there were 2 new members from Bhutan and from Laos, for 17 in total. And that group of people get together with others as well for quarterly threat sharing analysis meetings led by the APNIC security team. And that seems to be a very valuable exercise. And we've been upgrading platforms to support more activity from the HoneyNet system. Okay, the 4th pillar is information. It's publishing of information that's supportive of internet development, reflective of APNIC and APNIC member priorities, and also statistical information, much of which comes from APNIC labs, but also from APNIC operations about internet activities in the region. So the blog has been increased by 16.9% in its activity levels since the same time last year. So that's a pretty good increase in activities. We've launched the podcast this year as well, and it's had 14 podcasts, but with nearly 5,000 impactful plays, which actually means simply that someone has played most, if not all, of the podcast. So we've reached 5,000 people so far with the blog, with the podcast, and that's a pretty good start, I think. We have information products under the information products team as a work stream under this pillar. The Resource Explorer used to be called Internet Directory, so it's now REX, or Resource Explorer, and that's the way that you can get access to see exactly where resources are being allocated and to whom at the region, economy, or ASN level. That's whether those resources are IP addresses or AS numbers. And that's had some interface improvements. It's the way that anyone who needs to see or wants to see that information can do so through what we hope is a nice and improved interface. And we're like with all of the products listed here, we're recording the Net Promoter Score for those products as well as a rating of usability, so that we can track how things are improving. Now, there's been an interesting peak in the monthly users. We did try out some paid advertising for the information products during the year, and so for 2 products we saw a massive peak, but then a drop in after the use of paid advertising. But we'll see how that turns out, because it does look a little like from the chart below, like the that peak in monthly usage actually still resulted in a continuing increase in the number of returning users to those services. So we might keep an eye on that and try it again. Dash is the next information product, which is about alerting you to suspicious traffic and other indicators of the health of your autonomous system, let's say. So that has been it's being enhanced now with notifications, so you can set up your Dash account with the details of how you want to be notified of events that happen, like suspicious traffic being originated from your network, or routing inconsistencies that affect you. So that again is being measured for Net Promoter and usability. We have NetOx, the Network Operators Toolbox, which allows, that's effectively a stats interface, a very detailed stats interface for internet metrics across our region, allowing comparisons now between economies and so forth. And we're implementing consistent improvements with those. I'll note that the statistics here that are given, the measures of success, also reflect the fact that these products are being tested with user the user communities for those products, and in a very systematic way under our product management approach. So if you are users of those products, you have the opportunity to let us know how they're going and have some influence in the future development. Okay, research and analysis. This is primarily APNIC Labs with Jeff Houston and Joao Damas. 24 presentations this year around the place, 18 blog posts and podcasts, and research continuing. There's very long-standing research into IPv6 capability as it's grown around the region. I showed you a chart from that before. Also an analysis of the status of address pools of all of the RARs, BGP, growth and anomalies, DNS characteristics, QUIC, and DNSSEC. There's cooperation going on because Labs is providing information that's being used by MANAS, the ISOC program for norms in routing security. There's DNSSEC measurements being worked on and contributed to ICANN, and there's a collaboration with Cloudflare over the 1.1.1.1 public DNS service as well. Now, finally, capability is the ability of the organization of APNIC itself to do the job that we need to do. It includes the technical infrastructure that's run internally. So we're doing a fair amount on the security and the advancement of that infrastructure with all of the usual stuff that you'd expect on operating systems, upgrades across many services that we run, deploying POPs. This one most recently in Singapore for carrying critical APNIC services and en route. Systems and platforms, including a new hardware security modules for RPKI to improve failover and reliability there. Deployment of some RPKI services into global CDNs. So Cloudflare and Google are carrying the RPKI RRDP services these days. And likewise, RDNS, reverse DNS, is being deployed in Anycast. And this year in Mumbai, Tokyo, Melbourne, Miami. So that's a fair advancement of out the reach of the presence of APNIC's reverse DNS around the region and the world. We're using an external service, HackerOne, for vulnerability reporting and continuous penetration testing. We, as of the time of this report, we had an ISO 27001 certification audit scheduled in August. That took place, and APNIC is now certified under ISO 27001. So that's actually just one line in this report, but it's a really big effort that's gone on involving a lot of staff at APNIC over several years, in fact, doing gap analyses and planning and budgeting and so on. We've been continuing work as usual, I suppose, on the enterprise applications, the internal applications for content management, for HR management, for service ticketing, and so forth internally. A lot of security infrastructure development going on. A lot of it prompted by the challenge of the ISO 27001 certification coming up. And service availability, we're hitting 4 nines on all of those internal services as well. Quality and capability. So not only do we have the ISO 27001, but there's also ISO 9001 being constantly regularly audited, and we passed that one as well. Working on our data management and governance frameworks internally, charts for reporting and presentation so that we can do this job better. Internally, also continually monitoring staff engagement and satisfaction and so forth. So the last survey showed 83% compared with a global benchmark of 76% staff engagement. Career pathway and succession planning also for the security and stability of APNIC's human resources going forward. It's been a very busy time this year for recruitment. So Louise Tromp, who's APNIC HR Director, who's here with us today, has been very busy with her team on many open roles being filled. It's quite a difficult time, as I think everyone knows, with recruitment and retention these days. It's a very competitive market out there. We've had quite a few delays in filling technical roles this year in particular. There's a whistleblower policy, which is a legal requirement for an organization of APNIC size, and that's a formal mechanism whereby corruption or misconduct, which might be alleged or might be found inside APNIC, there's got to be a mechanism where someone who sees that can blow the whistle on the organization and can reliably and safely report that. Fortunately, we haven't had any whistleblowers incidents happening, but that is something that's actually a serious new policy and framework that's been put in place because it's really necessary for confidence in the organization. Workplace planning, upgrading our Cordelia Street office, which is now full, but we've got an upgrade plan for the next 2 or so years, and we only have to plan 2 or so years ahead because we've got a new home for APNIC in the planning. This is at another site which has been purchased for the purpose by the Internet Development Trust. It's another site in Brisbane that'll give us a larger space and a much longer term home for APNIC to live in for coming years and many decades, I hope. I think that's nearly all. Lastly, something that we're reporting trying to report quite consistently in our planning, in our operations planning and our operational reporting is to have measurable success indicators and targets. And we split those up amongst the 5 strategic pillars. You can see these, all of these in detail in the written report, which is available on the meeting website. But just as a summary, we've regarded ourselves as completing 14 of the success targets for this year. We've still got, 14% of the targets. We've still got 77% of the targets in play and in progress, and we're optimistic about hitting them. There's 9% of them which are at risk at the moment, and most of those they happen to be in the development area. No reflection on the development section, the development area or the staff there, because this is all about recruiting delays, about supply chain delays and so on in some of the infrastructure projects which we have on the go. So that, I think, is it. It's a bit of an oldish picture of APNIC staff there. We've got quite a few staff in the room here. Could I ask the APNICers who are in the room to stand up and give a wave? Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry for the long report. It's been half an hour. Appreciate your attention, but I'd be very happy to answer any questions now or later for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. As usual, the EC and the community, and the EC on behalf of the community, we appreciate all the work that is done by our staff and the leadership at the APNIC Secretariat. Thank you so much for all the work that the Secretariat does. I'll move on because we are sort of tight on time. I've mentioned the APNIC survey multiple times this week. APNIC survey is done every 2 years on behalf of the EC. The APNIC survey is not just for our members, but also for wider stakeholders. And it is not just a way for us to receive inputs from the members and stakeholders, but also to get feedback on how the Secretariat is doing and where we need to focus. So we've invited today Brenda Mainland from Survey Matters. Survey Matters is a third-party company that has been doing the APNIC survey for the past 3 times, I believe. And Brenda will be presenting this next. Brenda, over to you. Thank you.
A box here. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see everybody here in person. And thank you very much to APNIC and the EC for allowing us to do the biennial APNIC member survey. I'm here to go through the results of the survey that was completed during the first half of this year. I think a lot of you will know we do this every 2 years. It consists of consultations across the region with individual interviews, and then we do a comprehensive online survey of everyone. So I'll just take you through the methodology quickly. For the consultations, this year we were 37 individual interviews were conducted across 25 different economies. We interviewed all of the NIRs, and it was mostly APNIC members that we spoke to, although we did speak to 6 stakeholders as well. The interviews, unsurprisingly, were largely dominated by COVID-19 and its impacts, including impacts to demand, impacts to supply chain and workforce issues. Most interviewed also thought that the inability to meet in person hampered their business development, and that online meetings and conferences, etc., while they were okay, they are no substitute for the real thing, which is why we're all here today. Despite this, APNIC remains held in high regard, and there are many mentions of the support provided during these last couple of years, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Overall, as Paul said earlier, we had a great number of responses to the quantitative online survey. In fact, very similar numbers to the 2020 survey, with relatively the same distribution pattern, although slightly more stakeholders took part this year than in previous years. I think, as Paul said earlier, we added a new question this year, just asking if respondents had taken the APNIC survey in previous years. And just over 3 in 5 said that this was the first time they'd completed the survey. And I think that this provides a good indication of, I guess, the validity of the results over time when we're looking at tracking. So as we're getting different or new people taking the survey, there's very little differences in the tracking questions that we look at over the year. So let's just quickly look at the key findings, and then I'll take you through them in a little bit more detail. The 6 key findings here are listed here, and I guess despite 2 years of restrictions and disruptions and the inability to connect in person because of the pandemic, ratings of the quality and value of APNIC services at an overall level remain very high, and have improved significantly when looked at a more granular level, and I'll come on to that. And although COVID had significant impacts, some positive, most of them not, members are largely confident about the future for business continuity and business growth. So that's that was a positive. Most likely COVID-driven usage of most APNIC services declined slightly. However, satisfaction with those have remained high. And again, exacerbated by COVID. Internet security remains the #1 challenge facing members and stakeholders, which is not dissimilar to the 2020 results. However, there's a lack of enough skilled IT personnel and skilled workforce is also a big issue for the community from this survey. As in all surveys, the majority of respondents want APNIC to continue your focus on training as the best means to assist members and the community with all of these challenges. Collaboration and maintaining a security threat intelligence sharing service is also useful. And if there is investment to be made, the community would like that investment in infrastructure and in human resource capacity building, which I guess bears out what the challenges that you're all facing. So let's have a bit of a detailed look at these findings at a top 3 level. When I say top 3, we're talking people who rank above average, good or excellent, remains very high, as you can see, for APNIC service satisfaction across the quality of services, the value of services, and the value of membership. But what you can see from the dark green line at the, which way are you looking? Right on the right of the slide. The numbers of the proportion of members and stakeholders who have rated APNIC as excellent has improved significantly since the 2020 results. Over half of all respondents rate the quality and value of services and the value of membership as excellent. And like in previous years, those in South Asia are the most satisfied, with over 3 in 5 providing ratings of excellent across all 3 dimensions, while those in East Asia provide somewhat lower ratings, although they still remain with more than 40% providing ratings of excellent. Stakeholders also rate their experience dealing with APNIC very highly, a significant improvement in the ratings of excellence there as well, up from 26 in 2020 to over half of stakeholder respondents rating excellent in 2022. Members and stakeholders continue to provide a positive endorsement of APNIC, and with over 3 in 5 speaking highly of APNIC, which is very similar to the 2020 results. Let's move on to the effects and the impacts of COVID-19. And, you know, there's no doubt there's been very negative effects on a range of businesses and industry sectors and, you know, around the world and in society and the community since early 2020. When we asked members about demand for their services during these periods, over half or almost half, 49% said demand for their services increased during the COVID-19 pandemic. This wasn't always a positive, however. Many respondents said that the increased demand placed additional pressures on their organisations being able to meet QoS and meeting customer expectations. Demand increases were highest in the Oceania sub-region and in South Asia, with 58% saying demand had either somewhat or significantly increased in these regions. Reduced demand was more prominent in Southeast Asia, with 36% saying demand had dropped. And the most impactful things on organisations was the inability to travel and to have in-person meetings, managing people working from home. And I don't just mean the management of the people, but also particularly in the early days, actually getting everybody set up to work at home to access reliable internet from everywhere, and then, you know, trying to manage the remote working. So there was a lot that had to go on in those beginning months of COVID. Supply chain disruptions are also impactful, and as we've just heard from Paul, continuing to go on. And Survey Matters does a lot of research with industry associations and member-based organisations. And one of the biggest issues remaining, even in 2022, is issues around workforce management and supply chain disruptions. And I think that may take some time to play out yet. The inability to travel and meet in person was most acutely felt in East Asia and Southeast Asia, while in South Asia, the biggest impact was managing people working from home. In Oceania, supply chain disruptions caused the most impact. Despite this, 46% of members are confident about business continuity and growth over the next 2 years, with many noting that an increased reliance on the internet, you know, more people are dependent on technology to connect, to share, to buy, to sell, and it's generally embedded in their daily lives, being the reasons for their high levels of confidence. While use of almost all of APNIC services was lower in 2022 than 2020, again, due to reduced activities and global restrictions, use of My APNIC dropped from 69 to 61%. Website use dropped 8 percentage points to 52. Despite this lower usage, though, satisfaction remains very high, particularly with the APNIC Academy training, with RPKI certification and routing security. And even though everything had to move online presentations and conferences from APNIC also continue to rate extremely highly, which is a positive given the restrictions and inability to meet. But you can see that there is barely any difference in the ratings of satisfaction between 2020 and 2022. When we look at the operational and strategic challenges that members are telling us are an issue, overwhelmingly, we're still talking about internet security. 50% of all respondents ranked internet security among their top 3 challenges. And recruiting and maintaining a skilled workforce is also a big concern, again, most prominent in Oceania and Southeast Asia. 2 of the new statements included in the strategic challenges this year are also also prominent amongst the issues, with around a quarter of members saying that policymakers and regulators' understanding of the internet and managing the unintended consequences of regulations pose strategic issues for you. It should be noted, though, that there were some more statements added to these ranking questions, and we had a more even distribution of where the issues were this year than in previous years, and that's either as a result of COVID and different focuses of executives over that time, and we'll monitor that as we move forward. Overwhelmingly, members talk about continued provision of training and education as the best form of assistance that APNIC can provide them. Nearly 2 in 5 comments, over 2 in 5 comments included training in some shape or form as the best way that APNIC can continue to support the community. There were also calls for information on best practice, case studies, videos, and blog posts. With travel restrictions easing, many want to return to face-to-face meetings, including training, and also for training to be provided in the local language. There were also some calls for better education to non-technical people involved in the internet, including, managers, administration, marketing, sales, accounts, and even across governments and regulators. As a way of getting everybody to understand, the operational aspects of the internet and how it all hangs together. Lastly, when we asked about the most important areas for APNIC to focus on for internet development activities, there was a strong alliance between the interviews that we conducted and the online survey that was conducted. Most of 35 or a third of members want a priority on infrastructure investment, and about a third again on human resource capacity building. And this was pretty uniform across all economies types and different sub-regions. Infrastructure investment, particularly in backbone networks, peering, and support for neutral IXPs is the areas that are wanted, that members would like to see some activity in. In terms of human resource capacity building, which is the other priority for investment, a majority want more technical training for network engineers. There's also a lot of talk about training the next generation of network internet custodians, and so people are supporting, or members are supporting scholarships or internships at APNIC to help with that. Just to conclude, after a difficult 2 years, members and stakeholders' satisfaction with the quality and value of APNIC remains very high. However, members and stakeholders' challenges have become more complex or continue to need to be monitored over time. And I think that we're probably a little way before we can say we're out of the COVID era for a while. A lack of skilled resources, as we have seen, is a challenge for many of you. And APNIC can assist by continued training, including more advanced training, hands-on workshops and forums, and expanding training to include the next generation of internet network engineers will also assist. Thank you very much for your time today. I'm happy to take any questions now, or you can come and find me later on if we're all desperate for afternoon tea.
Thank you, Brenda. I think we can do a quick round of questions and open mic. And given the time loss we had, I'm gonna have the break and then have the treasurer's report after that. So we'll have roughly 5 to 10 minutes of open mic right now. If anyone has any questions, please, if you're on the Zoom, please raise your hands, or you may go to the microphone. Looks like everybody is really interested in the tea time. I think in that case, I guess we should break for tea. We will have another open mic later in the day, or the evening, or later after the next session. So we'll have a quick break. Instead of the 30 minutes, let's have a 20-minute break and come back here in exactly 20 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, APNIC 54. Good afternoon, Singapore. For those of you who are staying in the room during this period of time, we will be doing the Asia Pacific music quiz very quickly because we've only got a little bit of time here. So if you do want to take part, you need to go to kahoot.it and put in this game pin number right there at the top, which is the 212-7528. So essentially just go to kahoot.it and put in that number there for a chance to win prizes to take part. So the top 3 do get prizes. So just sign up there. If you can use a nickname that is similar to your name, that would be awesome as well, just so we can identify you for prizes. I see we're getting up towards 10 there. We'll just give it another 30, another minute. It'll only take about 10 minutes for the quiz. So we've got time. So as long as you just sign up now. For those of you who haven't done it yet this week, this is our 3rd quiz. And essentially, you will have multiple choice questions come up. So even if you don't know the answer, you can have a guess. So just giving it another 30 seconds or so there, because we've got a few people signing up as I can see. A few similar names from the last couple of days. If you haven't had a win yet, good luck today. Also, there'll be a couple of questions that do have music beforehand, so you just have to listen out for that as well. But just in case you can't hear it or something goes wrong, you should still be able to have a bit of a guess anyway for what's going on. All right, we're going to just give it another about 10 seconds and then we're going to start. Okie dokie. Well, let's get started, everybody. Now, for the first question, this will have some music played first. So just watch the clip and then the question will come afterwards. Let's get going. All right, so the question relates to that. The Tomioka Dance Club went viral with that pretty awesome video. Where are they from? It's Australia, Indonesia, Japan, or Thailand? Pretty good moves there. Hope to see some of those at the closing social tonight. I won't be there, but I'm sure you all have a good time. Get your answers in. And the answer was Japan. 22 of you got that right. Congratulations. Let's see who's leading overall. And Amina is leading at the moment, but plenty of time to catch up. Next question. True or false? The South Korean group Blackpink have had a US Billboard #1 song. So that's that main United States chart. Have they reached #1? If you think they have, go true. If you don't think they've made it to #1, choose false. 50-50 chance here. And it's false. They've been very, very successful, but they haven't actually reached #1 in the United States yet, but they've been very successful. So It's Me is taking the lead from Deep and Bill from Aaron. All right, let's go to the third question. All right, Atif Aslam is a well-known singer from where? Where's Atif from? Is it Brunei, Pakistan, Malaysia, or New Zealand? Get your answers in. Oh, wow, everyone's done it pretty quickly. And 36 of you are right. Well done. It is Pakistan. So what's that done to the leaderboard? All right, It's Me still in the lead with Bill in second place. All right, let's crack on. We've got to get through this one quickly. All right, next question. Highway to Hell is a song by which Australian rock band? Is it AC/DC? Is it The Wiggles, BTS, or Taxi Ride? All right, a few more seconds to go. Get your answer in. It is AC/DC. 7 of you went The Wiggles. I would love to see them do Highway to Hell. Right, what has that done to the leaderboard? Oh, not much movement there. The top 3 are staying, but Amina is coming up from behind there as well. Now, the next question is only a quick 10-second clip, and you're going to have to pay a lot of attention to it to answer the question afterwards. All right, that was an edition of The Masked Singer, which is all around the world. Now, it's a pretty terrifying looking costume, but what economy had that show, that one that we just saw then? Was it New Zealand? Was it India? Was it Philippines? Was it Cambodia? Get your answers in. I think we nearly got everyone. 23 of you got it right. Well done. Congratulations. It was Cambodia. And yes, terrifying costume. All righty-o. Oh, Bill from Aaron has dropped. It's Me is in the lead, Shamim is second, and Amina in third. Very close. Next question. Another true or false? The Indonesian artist Agnes Monica is known by her stage name, Agnes Mo. All in the capital letters as well. Is that true or is that false? Get your answer in. Another 50-50 chance here. Being very generous on the last day. It is true, and 32 of you got that right. Well done. All right. Oh, Amina is taking, it's catching up there a little bit, but It's Me is still in front by some way. We need to see if they can be caught. Next question. All right, singer Prabisha Adhikari is from where? Is she from Malaysia, Australia, Nepal, or Mongolia? All right, 6 seconds to go. About 10 of you still have to get your answers in. Get it in quick. Hopefully you're not Googling. It is Nepal, and 22 of you got that right. Well done. That's a bit of a tricky one there for some people, but let's see if that's changed the leaderboard. Oh, it has. Oh, Amina has taken the lead from It's Me. All righty-o. Bill from Aaron is in third place. Will it stay that way? The next one has music again, so listen out, particularly to what language they are singing here. All right, so for that clip there, the song is called Wairua, and in what language is it sung? All right, you got the 4 options there. Oh, 3 seconds to go, get your answers in. And it is Maori. So yes, from New Zealand. Great song. Check it out if you haven't heard. And 15 of you got that right. That was a tricky one there. You can see some people struggled there. Has it changed the leaderboard? Amina is still in the lead, and it's me in second place. Simon Green, third. Bill dropping down there a little bit. All right, second last question. Punjabi MC had a worldwide hit in 2002 with which song? See the 4 answers there. Get your answers in. You got 5 seconds to go. Right, it was Mundian Tupaki. Apologies if I'm pronouncing that terribly, but 13 of you got it right. Jai Ho did trick a few people up there. If you did day 1 of the quiz, you would have known that wasn't in 2002 when it was someone else. So well done for the 13, right, getting it right there. All right, Amina is in the lead still, and we're going to the last question. Looks like anyone can take it out of that top 5. So last question coming up. Right, the successful singer JJ Lin is from where? Singapore, Philippines, Australia, or Guam? Get your answers in. All comes down to this. And it's Singapore, the host of APNIC 54, an appropriate way to finish off. Right, where does that leave things? Third place, 9 out of 10 is 80K. Well done. Congratulations. In second place, Simon Green. Well done. Nice comeback there. And the winner is Amina. Congratulations for taking that one out. And for who we have, Mad and Asraf for the minor placings there in 4th and 5th place. Thank you so much for playing along today and over the last 3 days. I hope you enjoyed the rest of today's conference and the closing social tonight. We will reach out to you to get your prizes, and you can also just email me, Dale@APNIC. I'll put in the chat just in case you don't get your prize or we don't hear from us, but we will reach out to you to make sure that we can get that for you. So thanks so much for playing, and enjoy the rest of the sessions today. Thank you.
Break the silence, where the storm, then I'm alliance. I let you kiss me. If you say you miss me, I just wanna feel alive. So suck it up. If you can't ignore me, I live alive. You should record this. Look at me flying, so satisfying. See you nothing when you act like nothing. You know better, babe. You know better, babe. You know up like that. You know better, babe, you know better, babe, you know better. Why you letting down everyone around you? Now something's gotta change, something's gotta change. You know better than the life you wasted. Since I was a child, when I was young and wild, nobody could ever tell me there was nothing to overwhelm me. I thought I was cool when I left school. Took some time for me to realize I don't need this disguise. Baby, come, let's move on. 'Cause if I show my love, it dance through the night in neon lights. Love everybody. My mind is set free and I'll be me. Then I met you. You took me by the hand and showed me the world. Everywhere I was hurled, like flowers we grew and never felt blue. Like raindrops we were falling, now I hear them calling. Baby, come, let's move on. 'Cause if I show
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I think we should get started because we do need to recover time. I haven't heard back from the election chairs yet. So can I request Kenny to continue with the treasury report, please? Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Kenny Huang, Treasurer of APNIC Executive Council. It's my pleasure to present the Treasury report. Sorry, please. Okay, the Treasury report was split into two parts. The first part was until end of July 2020 year-to-date financial report. Second part will be until end of July 2020 year-to-date activity report. So here come to the first part of the report. Should I wait for the whole group of people? There's still a lot of people missing. Anyway, okay. Here's some key measure at the end of July 2020. Our equity position has been decreased by 5.2%, and year-to-date in 2022, financial stability measure is at 18.79 months coverage. So revenue tracking slightly below year-to-date budget. Full year forecast at 6.7% below budget. Expense tracking below year-to-date budget. Full year forecast 4.0% below budget. So surplus year-to-date at 1.48 million, and full year forecast deficit would be 1.3 million. So the major reason will be the membership growth is slowing. We have 425 new members versus 469 budget year-to-date. Investment portfolio volatility, because we have 3.5 million decrease in the portfolio value, that's a book value. And also the cost pressure, because of the CPI focus will be 7.75% by December 2022. So that impacts all the APNIC operation costs. So here is a statement for financial position. All the dollar I mentioned here will be Australian dollar. Until year to date in 2022, our total current assets was $15,582,000, and total non-current asset will be $40,437,000. So total asset will be accommodated will be $56,020,000. Our total liability until year to date will be $19,178,000. So total net asset and year to date will be $36,841,000. So that will be that's our current financial position. So statement of the financial position, we have year to date total revenue will be $16,710,000, and we forecast the full year will be $30,756,000. Total expense year to date will be $15,229,000, and we forecast year to date end of this year will be $33,764,000. So total deficit until year to date deficit will be $2,004,000. We forecast until end of this year, totally deficit will be $4.7 million. So we break into the revenue side, financial position in terms of revenue. The major contribution from the revenue will be membership fee. Year to date, the membership accommodate will be $14,369,000. We forecast the full year will be $24,721,000. Operating revenue, so total revenue until end of this year, we will be considered $30,756,000. That's membership by economy. We have majority membership come from the top three will be Australian, Bangladesh, Hong Kong. So you can see the distribution, the membership movement by different economy. The top three new membership economy will be Bangladesh. Second will be Australia. So will be Pakistan. The top three closure economy will be number one, Australia. Second will be Hong Kong. The third will be India. So membership grow by tier until end year to date, total membership will be more than 9,001 new member, and that's the average monthly gain will be considered year to date will be 33 new member. It's relatively lower than compared to 4 years ago, because since 2018 it was 51, 2019 was 51. Right now we only have 33. So the pandemic period really impact our member and also impact our operational APNIC. So the membership grow by different tier. Majority members still contribute into the small membership and very small membership. So membership closure by different reason. For example, like non-payment, that will be 20%. And also market transfer also considered quite significant, is occupied 22%. And also merge and acquisition 16%. So let's move to the financial position in terms of expense. Our expense, basically majority expense goes to salary and personnel expense. And the second largest will be foundation supported project that also has been sponsored by the foundation as well. So that will be offset. And also some of the expense including professional fee as well. So let's full year forecast performance. And EC has been budget 800,000 deficit in for the budget 2022. So actually last year EC already adopt 800,000 deficit. And compared to revenue, the revenue will be $131,000 below the budget. And operating expense forecast also $388,000 above the budget. And also foundation receipt and foundation sponsor project, they offset each other. And total APNIC operating cost loss will be 1.3 million deficit. And also combined with financial equity from our portfolio account will be almost close to 3.5 million. So until end of this year, the forecast performance will lose close to $7.8 million. That's the capital expenditure in 2022, and year to date capital expenditure including equipment and software, that's 259,000, and also office furniture in 29,000. And until we focus until end of this year will be equipment and software were up to 977,000, and office furniture that will be 327,000. So total capex will be 1.3 million. So that's APNIC financial position in terms of stability measure. Year to date, we have the number of months of expense covered by equity will be 18.79 months coverage. But when we forecast to until the end of this year, that will be 16.13. So that's relatively very similar to the financial stability measure between 2020 and 2019. So that's the APNIC capital reserve. You can see the green bar that will stand for our major APNIC reserve will be a financial asset, and green color stand for our cash, and purple stand for our property. So total reserve a little bit decreased until end of this year. So the last one will be until year-to-date activity reporting. As Paul already mentioned, we have 5 pillars, including membership, including registry service, including development, and also information service, and also operation capability building. So pretty much we budget is green color. Actually, we budget quite consistent with so far our progress is quite consistent with what we budget until end of year to date. So that will be pretty much for my treasury report. I will be happy to answer any question regarding to treasury report. Before that, you can also go to apnic.net/transparency to get all the financial report and APNIC activity report as well. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any question. Okay, Gara, over to you.
Thank you, Kenny. As we said earlier, we will have a bit of a Q&A later on. I am still waiting for the election report. While I wait for that, I can go ahead and do the APNIC EC report. I see Craig over there. Are we ready for the?
Yes.
Okay, looks like that. So I would like to request our election chair, Anju, to update us on the elections. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I have been advised that there may have been some anomalies with the voting platform. I am not confident as the election chair that the election results accurately represent the votes of the community. For this reason, I have advised the APNIC EC chair that we will defer any announcement of the election results until such time when we can verify that the election process was conducted according to the election procedures. Thank you.
Thank you, Anju. That is okay. I think we're going to take the advice of the election chair here and withhold this. We do have a break after this, so maybe I will confer and have a conversation with our election chair and the legal advisors and come back to the members after this. But in the meantime, let's continue this particular session and request our election chair and the scrutiners to continue looking into the abnormalities, as you said. You will be assisted by our legal team if necessary. Thank you so much. We continue on with the APNIC EC report. Can I get the slides, please? Thank you. This is the APNIC Executive Council report. It's going to be a short one. Next. As I introduced at the beginning of the AMM, we have 8 members in the Executive Council. 7 of us are elected, and Paul Wilson is, as the DZ, is the ex officio member of the EC. We did the introductions early on, but all the pictures are there, and 6 of us are there on the stage in Singapore, and 2 of us are remote. I'm the chair of the Executive Council. Next. The function of the APNIC EC are defined in our bylaws. We are elected by the members and represent the interest of members in the governance of APNIC. We have oversight on APNIC activities. We consider broader policy issues on APNIC's strategic direction. We set the fees, and when the APNIC community agrees on policies related with number resources, we endorse the policy and move them towards implementation. Next. The APNIC EC meets usually 4 times a year. It used to be in person, and now it's virtual and in person. We have had 3 EC meetings since last AGM, or APNIC 53. We had a joint board meeting with the APNOG board earlier this week. APNOG board, of course, organizes Apricot. On top of these 2 meetings, we also started organizing what is called the elected leaders meeting, a meeting with all the community representatives that are elected to various roles within APNIC and closely related organizations like APNOG and APIX. We had 3 of those meeting, including one yesterday during lunchtime. The next meeting is scheduled for later this month. All of the APNIC meeting EC minutes and records are at our website, apnic.net/EC. Next. We have had perfect attendance. Next. Brenda talked about the survey earlier, so I won't go into this, but these surveys are very important. One thing we're really glad about is the number of new participants, close to 1,600 plus participants, and 61% new participants. That's always good, like that. The main thing coming out of the survey results is this survey results, the 2022 survey, guides our activity planning that will happen in December. And that will also build our 3-year strategic plan for 24 to 27. Sorry, 24 to 27, 4-year strategic plans for the following 4 years. The full survey was released earlier. and it is available at that particular link. Next, we in the past 6 months we endorsed 3 policy proposals. They were passed by the community, 42, 43, and 44. They've all been endorsed and are in stages of implementation. Thank you to all the community for participating in this. Sorry, I think I missed Up next, finances. We just heard from Kenny. We have overall membership growth is below our budget assumptions, but we still have 9,000 plus members in 53 economies. We have an operating surplus of 1.48, and we have a decrease in equity. The full year forecast operating deficit is close to 1.3 million. And we are starting to look into this. I think a lot of our operating expense fluctuations is tied to the events and in-person activities that we were conducting. I think for this year, we under forecasted it. That's why we're kind of going to be over budget. And also, it's been very variable in the last year and this year. So we will probably see more stability and more predictability in next year budget. Next. On the broader internet community work, we have reappointed Nicole Chan to the NRO Number Council, ASO Address Council for 1 more year, starting next January till next December. She's been on the NRO EC already, and thank you, Nicole, for the service there. Also, in the other internet community news, RIPE NCC's chair, Christian, was elected to the ICANN board. So RIPE NCC now has a new board chair, Andre. I'm not so sure if Andre made it to Singapore, but yeah, we welcome him. But there's also a lot of questions raised around the NRO statement supporting APNIC. Of course, NRO is the organization of all the RIRs, and we have a role in it. To just some background, APNIC has more than 40 cases, and some of these are going to be long running. But the main interest in APNIC joining with other RIRs in the NRO is any instability in any of a single RIR can have an impact on the global registry system, because we have a single internet, but the registries are distributed. So that is why APNIC and other RIRs have spoken up about this. Our focus is on the members and serving the needs of this region, but we do believe that a stable internet is also in our interest. And if it starts getting fragmented or the registry gets broken up, then we'll see instability. Just to keep members aware, there is a lot of information and misinformation around this topic. So do be aware of it. Next. Conferences. Thank you everyone who worked hard to make this conference a successful hybrid event. Still some learning experiences there. So after the conference, when we send out the survey, I would like to hear what worked, what didn't work, and how do we get chili crab to people who are on Zoom? I think that is going to be the biggest question. We said this earlier, and we'll have a presentation later in the third session of the day. From next year, we are going to resume our 4-year rotation cycle. I am not so sure if a lot of the audience and the participants realize, but the way APNIC meetings and APRICOT are organized are in a cycle. It goes in a rotation around APAC. If you take, say, Melbourne as our last APRICOT, then where we went to Dhaka after that, then so on. It goes on. It goes from South Asia to North Asia to Oceania to Southeast Asia, and then back to South Asia, and then keeps on going around. So we'll resume that. This meeting is not part of the rotation in Singapore. This was a one-off. So we'll start with APRICOT in Manila, and then APNIC 56 will be held in Sapporo, Japan, and then APRICOT will be held, take place in Dhaka, Bangladesh. So these are the next 3 APNIC meetings. And then, the rotation will continue. Next. As usual, we always say we welcome members' feedback. You have 6 EC members there. You can find them during the breaks, or you can go to My APNIC and submit through EC submission, or you can use any of the contact us methods on the APNIC website. Next. Thank you to all the members for your support of APNIC and all the others who are there. Thank you very much. As I said, we will have time for open mic later on, so we move on. I'm gonna request Kim Davies to give us an update on IANA and PTI. Kim?
Thanks, Gaurav. And thank you everyone for the invitation to give you a brief update here at APNIC. My name is Kim Davies. Next slide. Just to recap, IANA's role generally is to coordinate unique identifiers. We typically divide our responsibilities into 3 key areas: protocol parameters, number resources, and domain names. And number resources is the focus of my presentation today. These you all know: IPv4, IPv6, and AS number allocations in particular. There we go. In terms of the services that we deliver, we have 2 key forms of operational accountability. Firstly, a set of SLAs that we have with the RARs for the services that we provide. To those SLAs, we provide monthly performance reports. These are available on our website and available for inspection. And the second kind of accountability is an annual review convened by the RAR community. You can find that on our website as well. In terms of the services we deliver to the RARs, in terms of number allocations, they're really relatively straightforward, and we've comfortably met all of those SLAs in recent years. We do have some other updates on SLAs a little bit later in the presentation. In terms of our customer satisfaction with the IANA services, we also, similarly to APNIC, conduct a survey of our client base. We perform ours annually. And we talk to all the different representatives of our key customer groups. When it comes to the number services, we predominantly engage with the RAR leadership. This is not only the CEOs of the RARs, but key points of contact within each RAR. And they're invited to participate in our annual engagement survey. The results are quite good. We had a 53% participation in our survey conducted last year. And overall, the results are very positive. The highest rated quality of the IANA is credibility, rated 4.2 out of 5, with timeliness rated the lowest, but that is still a 3.8 out of 5. Our next annual engagement survey is kicking off very soon, and we'll be reaching out to community members throughout the month of October. Another relatively recent form of customer satisfaction monitoring that we do is post-transaction surveys. Every time someone engages with the IANA and performs a request, at the conclusion of our processing, we reach out to the customer to fill in a small survey, and we use that as more immediate feedback to alter our services. I'm pleased to report that I think through the lifetime we've been doing this, we've received 100% satisfaction from the number services community those surveys. And we have an online portal where you can see those results month to month. One area of particular interest with the IANA functions and the RARs has been our reverse DNS service. IANA operates in ADA.ARPA and IP6 ARPA, and we've been conducting work to evolve this service. One area of particular interest we've been working on now for a couple of years. We recognize that during the IANA stewardship transition that happened in 2016, I guess you could call it an oversight. In the SLAs that were devised for performance of the numbering functions, performance of the reverse DNS was not included. However, ICANN, PTI, all the RARs recognize that was an omission. It is a service provided as part of the IANA functions, and we should be accountable for ensuring the service is delivered according to expectations. So to that end, we've been working together to draft a set of amendments to the SLAs that will formalize our operational commitments for that service. And I'm pleased to report that as of today, it is now that those draft SLA amendments are now open for public comment. Once that public comment proceeding has concluded, we expect to put that into implementation. Somewhat related, we've also been doing work to untangle .ARPA operations from root zone operations. For those not familiar, .ARPA is actually hosted on the root service today, largely for historical reasons. And this has meant that evolution of the .ARPA service has been somewhat limited, trying to avoid the risk that it would impact root zone operations by changing the nature of the .ARPA service. So we worked on RFC 9120, which spells out a procedure for separating .ARPA operations from the root. We've just recently completed phase 1 of that effort, and we're now looking at opportunities to further that separation into the future. And so ultimately, it should result in no regression of service, certainly, but it will allow us to evolve and scale .ARPA independently of how we scale the root zone. Just waiting for this to click over. Oh, thank you. A relatively recent service, but probably new to this community because we launched it at the start of the pandemic. We implemented a number resource dashboard, and essentially what this does is reports address allocation data that's been reported by the RARs, but in a way that tracks against our eligibility policies. So you can have a relatively straightforward view of when, according to IANA's policies, we would be issuing different RARs with new blocks of AS numbers and IPv6 blocks as well. Lastly, some other areas of interest that we're working on. We're building an IANA RDAP service. This is intended to reflect all the different kinds of allocations that we do. So it would include reserved IP address blocks. It would include top-level domains, .int domains, .ARPA domains, and so forth. We're also planning to study how to do an algorithm rollover for the DNS root zone. This is not something that's been done in the past and has unique considerations. So we want to make sure that we study that carefully so that when the time comes to update the algorithm for the root zone, it can be done in a safe manner. In parallel with that, we're kicking off the next KSK rollover, which is a rollover that does not change the algorithm. And that work is kicking off shortly. We're also working on engineering improvements for an API that we provide to the RARs that allows them to update the DNS records for their IP address allocations. And lastly, public comment. We're currently soliciting feedback on our annual operating plan and budget. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, on the SLAs for reverse name services. So much like APNIC coming back to hybrid and face-to-face meeting opportunities, so are we. This is the first face-to-face RAR meeting. I've been at it for almost 3 years. And so we're looking forward to re-engaging with the community in person as well. We're happy to report that we were able to sustain all the core IANA functions without any operational impact over the last few years. But we did have to do significant modifications, particularly the key signing ceremonies that we conduct had to be performed in a much altered fashion, but those are returning back to normal as well. But as the community goes back to meeting and explores new hybrid approaches to meeting, we will be as well. So please keep us informed how we can support your community and continue to engage effectively with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kim. Good to see you in Singapore. If there are questions, we'll take it later, or you can find Kim in the audience. I do see a raised hand from others, but others I'm going to defer the Q&A to the open mic. You can write your questions in the chat room, just for record. Move on, and next I will request Bertrand, our policy SIG chair, to come and present the SIG report.
Good afternoon. Is it working? Yeah. So as a reminder, the policy SIG deals with policies related to the management of internet number resources within the Asia Pacific region. This session, we had 4 proposals. And the first one is Prop 145, single source for definition. The objective of this proposal was to suggest that APNIC use a single definition document to ensure that terms are used and interpreted consistently across APNIC policy documents. This proposal reached consensus at the OPM. Gaurav, do you want to call the consensus of the AMM now, or wait for at the end?
Why don't you finish and then we can do it quickly.
Okay.
Then.
Prop 146, aligning the contrasts. This proposal suggests aligning the policy document constructing heading and description in section 3.0. This proposal reached consensus at the OPM. Prop 147, historical resource management. This proposal suggests that historical IPv4 resources, be justified and claimed, or that they be made available to other organizations that require them. This proposal did not reach consensus at the OPM. Prop 148, leasing of resources is not acceptable. The proposal suggests explicitly stating in the policy document that leasing of addresses is not permitted in the APNIC region. This proposal did not reach consensus at the OPM. Outcome and actions, well, Prop 147 and 148 will go back to the mailing list and have to be amended before the next OPM. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Bertrand. Can you bring out the 2 the early proposals that went through consensus in the policy 6 so that we can call for consensus here?
Prop 145 for the first one.
Okay, so the Zoom operators, hope you are ready. As is our process, even though this Prop 145 reached consensus in the policy SIG, will call for a confirmation of consensus at this one. So those in the Zoom should have the visibility, support or not support. And I would also want to see if there is support in the room. Raise your hand if you support. Okay, I think I can see enough. Raise your hand if you strongly oppose. Okay, I think that makes confirm the condition from the OPM. And we'll declare this as having reached consensus based on the general rule around consensus. Thank you so much. This will go back to the mailing list for last call. And if anybody has any concerns or questions, we can still go there. Next one.
Yep. Prop 146.
The Prop 146, basically also a lot of editorial changes. So let's do the poll. I can see the poll here. Something happened here. Yep, the poll is running. I don't see any opposition here. Do I see any strong opposition in the room there? Anyone strongly opposed to this editorial changes? I don't see hands there. So can I see a general sign of support in the room, please? Raise your hand if you are supportive. I see a few hands going up. And then in the Zoom, we see support. So, and again, these are very editorial changes. So I would say that there is a consensus to make these editorial changes. Thank you. 146 will go last call on the mailing list. Thank you, Borthon.
Thank you all.
We move on to the next presenter here. We're going to hear from the NIR SIG chair, Una. Oh, Nguyen. Do we not have the presenter there? And after the NIR SIG, we have Joy Chan, and then after talking. So NIR SIG report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I'm Oanh from APNIC, and on behalf of NIR SIG, I would like to update about the NIR SIG report. As you know, the NIR SIG is to share information relating to the operation, policy, and procedure of national internet service, which aim to promoting close cooperation both among NIRs and with APNIC as well. At APNIC 54, yes, the topic of the NIR SIG forum, we talk about the delegation, IPv6 and RPKI deployment among NIRs and NIR members. We had two presentations from APNIC Telecom and other from NIR chairs. APNIC Telecom, they believe that IPv6 saves their money and RPKI prevent BGP hijack. For overview of, among NIRs, yes, from CNE, they have a good promote IPv6 from government. So they have the 67% IPv6 users. From IRENE, they develop new members by marketing and many webinars. So they have a good number of IPv6 deployment, 79%, and good promote ROA with 68% ROA in India. From IDNIC, they have new members from almost from non-ISP, and they have a good promotion for IPv6 from the use of IPv6 in Indonesia increased so far from 5% to 15%. And also the ROA and RPKI is promoted in Indonesia. From the APNIC, they have many new members, almost from the hosting and application service providers, and also the ROA in Japan reached 61%. From KISA, and also they have prepared a good number of IPv6 to develop internet in South Korea. So the number of IP address for internet user is the high. So
I think we lost connectivity here in the room. We simply have lost the speaker and the room on Zoom. So can you pause everything there, please? Yes, can we pause the room?
Gaurav, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you guys.
Thank you, Gaurav. Sorry for that. We just lost audio connection. Very good.
Okay, we can resume now. Last I was having the NIR SIG presentation.
Cooperation SIG presentation as well, Gaurav. So it's now routing
Can
security.
we repeat? Can you repeat that? Because I asked it to be paused. Because we need to have that, because if we didn't have it, then it is not even on YouTube. So there's no record of the video.
Oh,
So
the
I think we'll have to trouble Zoe to come back up.
Joy is here. Joy? I don't see Joy in the room, Gaurav. Did we get that on the record, the cooperation SIG? I was told that we recorded the video and audio, but we just lost the slides. Do you still want to have Joy's cooperation SIG report?
We may need to do that for record keeping, because this is a hybrid meeting, remember?
We do the routing security SIG first because Aftab is waiting here, and then I'll go find Joy.
Yeah, please do that. And next time we have a problem, you should pause the meeting immediately.
Sure, we will. Thanks.
Yeah, Aftab.
Can you remove that?
Don't break the other one.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Yes, thank you. Right. So Aftab Siddiqui here. I'll be doing the routing security SIG update. I would like to thank, first of all, my co-chairs, Dr. Dima, who attended the session online, and Afifa Abbas, who was with us supporting the session. So the charter is there. I'm not going to read it. If you want to read it, it's on the SIG website as well, on the APNIC website, sorry. So you can have a look. We had a very packed agenda. It was only for 1 hour, but it was a very constructive and very packed session. We had first presentation from Terry Swister, who provided the RPKI status from the Australia and New Zealand, and Dr. Johnson gave a very interesting presentation related to the IPv6 extension header and the security and the routing security aspect of not dealing with the extension header properly. The most important bit was, of course, during the routing security SIG, a route hijack incident, which happened for a prefix based out of Bangladesh, which was presented by Saman Baroi. It was, I think, the most discussed topic during the session, and it was very well received by the community as well. I, along with the other chairs, presented the survey result and the update from the APNIC information team. We did the survey a year ago, asked a couple of questions from the community that what do they want to see in terms of services related to RPKI or routing security in the My APNIC portal or other services. I'm going to quickly provide the update on that survey outcome. So APNIC has informed that they are in the process of initial release of alert through the dashboard. If you are an APNIC member, you should be able to log into the dash and access that information. APNIC also is working, APNIC information team is also working on a generic notification, because that was one of the concerns that when you create a ROA right now, you do not get any notification. So there will be some options, for example, SMS, email, and or Slack notification in the coming future. The third request was from the community side, was for the API for the ROA management. Couple of months ago, APNIC did publish a blog explaining the API access for the registry services, which will be also available soon for the ROA management. That was the outcome for the survey. The last thing, which is still an open action from the routing security SIG, and we will pursue it before the next session. There was a request during the survey that there should be a request system where community can provide feedback that these are the features they need in related to RPKI or ROA management or whois management. Of course, we can add that in the next meeting. So that was all from the routing security SIG side. If you have any questions related to that, more than happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm next as well.
Thank you, Aftab. Let's go on to the next one.
All right. All right. I'm again Aftab Siddiqui, not as the routing security SIG chair. So we presented a document, we presented a proposal for a committee called Nomination Review Committee, couple of weeks last month in August, on the APNIC talk and in all possible mailing lists. So I'm just going to provide the update on that where we are. The problem statement is mentioned here. I'm not going to read line by line. The problem in a nutshell is that when somebody put a nomination in, the community only finds out after the information is published and whatever the due diligence has been done by the Secretariat. And there is no mechanism to provide community feedback or verify the information which has been uploaded in the system. So we came up with this process. When I say we, it is a collection of people. For example, all the chairs, which is chair and co-chair of the SIGs, all the SIGs, NRO NC member, and a review committee member, and board members of APIX and APNOG as well, who provided the feedback to come up with this document. You can scan the QR code for the document itself. This is the proposed mission we have mentioned in the document. It is still a proposal. It hasn't been finalized, of course. So we arranged, thanks to the help of Craig Eng and Jeremy, who provided the support to arrange a BOF a day before. And there was a very nice discussion. I'm happy to say that there was, in general, there was a support for the proposal. Of course, there were some concern because it's not very clear. It's still in the first stage of the discussion. There were some concern about the clarity of the roles and responsibility and the powers of the NRC, which we believe, and we have identified it in the document itself, that can be addressed in the step 0. So step 0 clearly defines what we have to do. And this is actually we have to set the goals. We have to set the charter. We have to explain the roles and responsibility of the chairs and co-chair, the code of conduct, how we will elect people in the NRC, for how long, things like that will be very well defined in this step. So, and then it will, of course, be presented to the community and to the EC for further ratification. So nothing will be done until that stage is cleared. So that is our step 0, which we have presented to the community. Again, there was no strong opposition of the proposal, but of course the concerns were there, which we assume that will be resolved in the step 0. So I would like to especially thank a few people here who provided most of the feedback, and their names are there. But of course, the whole group provided the feedback, and it was a joint effort. So this is where we are at the moment. So any question, then happy to answer. Otherwise, I'll give it to Gaurav for the further suggestions.
Thank you, Aftab. I'm sure there will be questions, but we'll do the open mic shortly after Joy can present the cooperation presentation again, because none of the remote participants or the hybrid participants were able to see or hear her. So Joy, we are going to trouble you again to come and present this back.
Good afternoon. This is Joy Chen. I'm here to do a rerun on my cooperation special interest group. And I'm very happy to do this because I do want you to understand that what we have been doing for the session. So I'm Joy, and on behalf of my co-chair, Big Graham, this is what we have been doing. Cooperation Special Interest Group is a very interesting group. It has covered the broader internet topic, not just the technical or on the human right and others. So this year we are tackled the thing on my global online presence diminished. What we are talking about is that we actually bring 2 groups of people coming here to having a beautiful dialogue. We have a younger digital generation, 4 presenters, 1 from Russia, 2 from Afghanistan, and 1 from Myanmar. The youngest presenter was from actually a college undergraduate students. Their sharing were very direct, very impact, and it's real life experience. So their views are from inside as well as outside. We also have another group that's like the subject matter expertise, talking about the impact could be impacting such as sanction and other strategy, other action that's happening. So those real life stories are specifically for Asia Pacific. And we hope that those stories are direct, true, and we understand what's really the impact of it. So we explore on this multi-stakeholder participation from the government process, and those are going to be impact. So the global internet has been seen in increasing for the shutdown, the take-ons, and everything else. So we hope that the human impact can be really seen from our discussion, and I will continue having the dialogue and engagement with different various groups of the people. And I think this is a good start with the technical community of the APNIC and the APRIGF. I think we have a lot of the feedback from the APRIGF attendees and the young fellows to share and also talk to me afterward about how important this is. So we're going to continue this topic going forward with more dialogue, more engagement, and because at the end of the day, it's really the humans that we are look after. So thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, Joy. Sorry for making you come back, but as I've said, this is a hybrid meeting, and we want everyone to be able to participate equally. So thank you once again. We have a quick time for open mic. The people on the side just had a break, so we'll not have a break. We'll continue on and try to close this gap. But I do propose that we actually do an open mic right now as in the schedule. So any questions or any other commentary on these reports from anyone on the floor or on Zoom? I don't see much. So thank you very much. We move on. I'm going to ask Mohammed Arif to present the Internet Association Leaders Forum BOF report now.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Muhammad Arif from IPGI, the Indonesia Internet Association. So 2 days ago, I presented a proposal for BOF session about Internet Association Leader Forum. So before I present the report, I want to acknowledge Paul Wilson as Director of APNIC and all of the APNIC staff for organizing this meeting. I want to present my proposal for establishing an Internet Association Leader Forum. This special interest group, or SIG, is designed to discuss business perspective, opinion, strategies, activities, or success stories from various Internet Association leaders on relevant issues to support digital inclusion. The key of the highlight, the scope of discussion and sharing in the proposed SIG will be regarding 1. Internet development of each country. 2. Difficulty and challenge in each country, especially in improving internet coverage and quality. 3. Experience and solution. 4. The technology and its implementation. 5. Business model and collaboration, such as collaboration between private and government or collaboration between internet service provider. The participant of the purpose of this SIG will be the Internet Association leader or similar in each country. Of course, have some interest with us in all country in the world, but especially in the APNIC region. So we have 3 points. Okay. So we have 3 points on agree outcomes for action from the BOF session are. First point, the initial Internet Association Leader Forum, SIG, is a forum for discussing internet inclusion from the business perspective related to APNIC mission, but involve internet business or industry association leader. Second, the initial Internet Association Leader Forum, SIG, will support the APNIC mission to solve the challenge of internet inclusion from the business perspective and seek advice and guidance from the Secretariat on the future activities. Third, the initial Internet Association Leader Forum, SIG, will seek the annual member meeting or IMM approval for this proposal. I think that's all the summary of the in the BOF. I do wish you a very enjoyable, fruitful, and insightful week. Thanks again for joining, and see you again in other session. Please feel free to contact me if you have some interest with me. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Muhammad Arif. This is a very interesting session. I believe we'll need the charter and a few more things before we go and set this up as a SIG. So I invite you to do another BOF at the next meeting, and then forward a formal proposal to the EC to take up as a consideration for forming a new SIG. Thank you once again. Now I go on to all our partners at this APNIC 54. As we said in the opening ceremony. This is the first time we're doing this jointly with APSIG and APRIGF. So I would like to invite Mr. Satish Babu to do a quick presentation on our report on the APSIG meeting. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gaurav, Satish, for the APSIG community here. Dignitaries, friends, and colleagues, we are now at the end of a fairly arduous journey, but it's been a very gratifying week for all of us. For APSIG, the week started off on the 8th with our fellowship meet and greet process. We had about 30 fellows selected jointly by APRIGF and APSIG. 2 of them had travel difficulties at the last moment. They could not join us. All the 28, the rest of them were present and very present both in body and mind, and very excited as well. One of the innovations this year by the APSIG APRIGF fellowship, beyond the usual gender and geographical balance, was to include a special fellowship or rather one seat for people with disabilities. So we had a fellow from Bangladesh, a senior person who was vision impaired, but we also had resource persons who were with disability. And we had several sessions covering disability. And I think it's an interesting metric to track for the future as to what are the numbers of people with disabilities that attend our programs, how many sessions are there, and so on. With the very successful completion of this joint program, we have demonstrated to the world that not only can we come together, but also that we can plan and execute a world-class mega event under considerable constraints and uncertainties. Till about a couple of months back, we never knew what was the state of COVID going to be. But right now, of course, we know that it is kind of declining. But that wasn't the case when we started the plan. I must report that APSIG, as well as our fellows, have significantly benefited from the joint event. Rather than have a standalone edition as we did last year in Colombo, this joint edition has been significantly more visible across the region and has elevated our profile. I was interacting with the fellows, and I find that they have received a real boost in terms of this particular event. In one event, they have met the cross-section of the entire region's internet governance community. They are really motivated and excited at the push that they've got from this event. And I'm sure it'll serve them well in their long journey in internet governance. We'd like to thank APNIC, its leaders and staff for the initial idea, as well as for the continuous and meticulous efforts to design and plan the event. So we've had a lot of meetings and a lot of, the APNIC staff and leaders worked with us. At times the going was tough, but we are very happy to see that we have pulled it off. We also would like to thank the APRIGF leaders, as well as .Asia, who worked tirelessly shoulder to shoulder with us, with the APSIG Executive Committee to ensure that the program met everybody's expectations. Congratulations and thanks to everybody who played a role in this really, truly memorable event. On behalf of APSIG, I bid you goodbye until we meet at another venue. Safe travels and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Satish Babu. And APNIC has been very glad and to partner with APSIG, and we look forward to more such collaborations in future. Next up here will be Anju Mangal, Chair of APRIGF, presenting about the meeting itself. If Anju is not there, we can swap. Oh,
she was here, but I think she stepped out.
Is Toyama-san around? Then we can have the APIX one, and then we can do the.
Toyama-san? Oh, he's here.
Okay, just flip that and let's do the APIX report.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So just a little longer meeting and a little tired. Okay, but it's still energetic. Yeah. Okay. So, my name is Katsuya Stoyama, a chairperson of an APIX. Do you know the APIX? Maybe you know. Yeah. So we are Internet Exchange Associations in Asian Pacific region, and we have activities almost for 10, even 12 years. Okay. So today I would like to briefly report about an APIX. Okay. So currently APIX members are 36 from 18 countries and economies, as described here. And it becomes a big group. So this is the list of the APIX members. Okay. So, and currently steering committee members are listed here. Arnold, Vijay, Apshi, and Masataka. Yeah, these are the steering committee members. We are handling this APIX community. Okay. And this year we have had an 8 times meeting and discussed several issues. Okay. And this terms of the activities, we started IXP development support in APAC region with APNIC, APNIC Foundation, and ISOC. Yeah, these are the programs to support to establish the new internet exchange in the APAC region, and also support the existing ISPs need some equipment like server, switches, and collaborating with this organization we are supporting. Okay, so currently we are just kicking off this project like in the Maldives IX, Kiribati, or MMIX. And another activities is to establish APIX legal entity. We are still non-legal entity and relying on the APIA, but in some phases we need our own legal entity. So now we are discussing with an APNIC Foundation and try investigating where to be established the illegal entity of APIX. So that is still ongoing. And also this achievement, we started the benchmarking working group last time. This working group is a survey about the internet exchanges of each country or cities, and we are compare their services and the policies and the financial. So that is very important to benchmarking for this internet exchanges, what can do that, and what kind of services provided. Yeah, so currently the working group chair is Mike of the CNX Cambodia, and we did the first survey. But unfortunately, 7 out of 36 members answered. So we decided to continuously ask to give the feedback from our members. Yeah, and thank you very much, APNIC. This project is also supported about an SurveyMonkey tool. Yeah, this is supported by APNIC. Okay. And currently outstanding issue is increasing the APIX members. So these days, the new internet exchanges people are contacted us. So we are encouraging them to be the member. Okay. And also, as I mentioned, benchmarking and the support program and legal entity, these are still the outstanding issues. So we are working on that. Okay. And this is an example of a current this time's meeting agenda. And here we discuss like this. And in the second session, we have had a new internet exchange in Bangladesh. They are explain themselves. And also we have had a friend from LAC-IX, the Internet Exchange Association in LAC-NIC region. And they made a presentation about their activities.
And also we have had an interest discussion about IXP neutrality, which I was also conducted yesterday as an above. And on the last sessions, we have had an traffic regulations and its impact to internet exchange ecosystems. Yeah, so these kind of open topics we are always discussing, and given we have had a very fruitful discussion and result. Okay, and one more things I would like to present here. So maybe you know that Peering Asia. The Peering Asia is an open and neutral peering forum in the APAC region. And unfortunately, we could not do the peering forum in person these 2 years, like other meetings. But then this year, the November 2nd and 3rd, we will have a peering forum in person in Bangkok, Thailand. And this event is hosted by Thailand IX and the BBIX Thailand. And already a registration is open and call for presentation is open. So please join this Peering Asia. And also if you have an interesting topics to present, please submit your proposal to us. Okay. And always thank you very much at APNIC to support our activities, and also our support from ISOC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toriyama-san. It is very nice to see that APIX is still going strong. Yes, and it has been more than 10 years now, because I think the first time we considered an APIX was Apricot in Fukuoka, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a long time ago. So thank you once again, and APNIC is always very glad to partner with APIX. Internet exchanges are important in our region. I would now go back and see if our APRIGF chair, Anju, is back in the room.
Yes, she is.
Okay. Anju Mangal from APRIGF.
Sorry, I went for a break. Anyway, I still haven't had my chili crabs. I'm not sure who to blame. APNIC? I hope I get it tonight. Anyway, on behalf of the amazing APRIGF multi-stakeholder leadership team and the Secretariat, we would like to thank you for everything. We had a great event, more than 500 members in person, plus 300 more from online. If you have missed some of these sessions, you can find it on the APRIGF website. This week, we have strengthened the relationship between APNIC members, APRIGF, and APC community. There were various sessions that all the members could go to, and I had a good conversation with some of the APNIC community, particularly technical community, and they said that really enjoyed some of the APRIGF sessions and vice versa. It was good to hear some perspectives in terms of how they can apply some technical, opportunities or maybe technical issues, challenges that they have to a more people-centered and a human-centric approach. So I think that was a great bridge between these two communities. To our young generation leaders, most of them have left, but some of you are here, keep making a difference. Some of them, if you're staying back, please join the cocktail, please don't forget. And persons with disabilities, rural and remote communities, LGBTQ communities, and our amazing partners, you made this event a huge success. I do have to say that we were able to have a translator, yes. And we also had a team that was looking after the persons with disabilities. So it's not just about attending sessions, but it's also about taking them to eat, taking them to the toilets, taking them to make sure that they are okay throughout the week. We are very grateful to all the sponsors. I met most of you, and I cannot thank you enough. Honestly, we hope you can support us again if we have the next joint event. Lastly, I'd like to thank Paul and of course the EC chairs and the committee, and his team, Sunny, Joyce, Blendin, Pablo, Molly, Craig, Peter, Kendrick, Connie, Robbie, Jimmy, and his team, Sylvia, Duncan, Jessica, Hannah, Jeremy. I've met all of them, EC chairs, and of course the committee, and the amazing hotel staff and the people working behind the scenes, because these are the real heroes. These are the people that made the event happen. So thank you so much to everyone, and we look forward to the next one. And hopefully we can have chili crabs tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Anju. It's great to see the APRIGF together with the APNIC meeting. Hopefully we'll have some more of those in future. And I think, we can ask Paul to take care of the chili crab when in Singapore for APRIGF. Though I do say that pepper crab is probably better than the chili crab. Anyway, we go on. I did say that we're not going to have a break, but looks like we do need to have a quick break, a short while, because earlier we had postponed the election results, and I do need to confer a bit with the election judge plus the legal to see where we are before we move forward here. So I'm told that there is coffee outside, so maybe we take a quick 15-minute break. And then right after that, we'll start with providing you an update on whatever the state of the election results are, and then have Philip Smith come in. The last session will be mainly focused on like a closing ceremony for this meeting. So it is 33 minutes past the hour. Can we be back here at 15 minutes past the hour, please?
Sand in my hair, your hand. Sand in my hair, your hand in mine. Problems. I would never thought you could be causing these problems. You're so bright, eyes like these diamonds sunshine. I know I should have known. I know you're not alone. Getting stuck. See where you stand. I don't wanna see you crumble. To recall what we meant. All the words you never said. All the questions in my head. 'Cause you're trouble, yeah. Yeah, you're trouble. Yeah, you're trouble. 'Cause you're trouble. Yeah, you're trouble. Running. Everyone says that I should get going, start running. But I'm not supposed to run when I'm falling. I don't wanna get in trouble. See where you stand. I don't wanna see you crumble. To recall what we meant. All the words you never said. All the questions in my head. 'Cause you're trouble, yeah. Yeah, you're trouble. Yeah, you're trouble. 'Cause you're trouble. Yeah, you're trouble. Yeah, you're trouble, trouble, trouble. Yeah, you're trouble. to become what we missed. All the words you've never said, all the questions in my head, 'cause you're trouble, yeah. Yeah, you're trouble. Yeah, you're trouble. 'Cause you're trouble. Yeah, you're trouble. Yeah, you're trouble, trouble, trouble. Yeah, you're trouble. 'Cause you're trouble, trouble, trouble. Yeah, you're trouble.
We'll start in about 2 minutes. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We get started. For the last sort of session of APNIC 54. At this point, I think we are very much mostly done with the official APNIC businesses here, and we are going to go into a few formalities. But as I said earlier, we're looking at a decision, or I was trying to figure out what happened with the election so that we can provide an update before closing. I just have one update here. After conversing with the chairs and the legal team and others on the ground, basically the EC takes the election of our community leaders, the SIG chairs, the NRO NCs, very seriously, and any kind of violation there or anything against the spirit is not something we appreciate. And so we take steps in validating that everybody who is voting or participating is eligible for it, and so do our election system provider. After the elections closed this afternoon, there were some concerns raised on the results of viewing the data from the provided and flagged by the election provider or the online election provider. So we are going to be withholding results because right now there's not enough time to go through all of it and audit it and make sure that we still have the right results. So we'll be conducting a full investigation before we release the results, along with our election chair and the online voting provider. And then once the report of this investigation is known, we will update the community and also announce the results at that time. So I was hoping we would be able to resolve this by now, but looks like we won't be. And we don't want to take shortcuts at this point on this topic. So we will keep you informed. The secretary will inform all the candidates on the various state of things. Hopefully by the end of the day, or if not tomorrow, on what is going on. So thank you for that was that update, the reason for the break. Before I go on to the closing formalities, I think we can do a last round of open mic if anybody has anything in the end of the session here today. Don't see anyone heading towards the mics. So we will continue on. So I would like to invite Dr. Philip Smith, the chair of, we do have someone heading to the mic.
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks, Gaurav. Dhruv here. First, I want to thank for this joint APRIGF and APNIC and APSEG and IX. This was very, very interesting. And I came like a little early, so I attended on Monday some of the IGF sessions, which was very, very interesting. Some things like I'm from a tech side, usually ITF, not do so much of IGF stuff, but it was very nice. One of the things throughout the conference was about diversity, about inclusion, and one thing which also happened about the women and queer people in the leadership. So even to this EC, you guys are amazing and you are doing really well. But I think one thing that we have to do is how to get our EC also a little bit more diverse, more women members in the EC. So as we go forward, we need to encourage and look out to how can we make EC a little bit more diverse. So hopefully you guys are all doing that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhruv. I see someone there on the mic. Maimura-san, please introduce yourself though.
My name is Akinori Maimura from APNIC. Thank you very much. That's really another successful APNIC meeting, and this time the joint with the APRIGF and the APSEG was really let's say attractive. That we had a lot of youngsters join also to the APNIC conference sessions. I'd like to have make one question about yes, this is actually a little bit covered in the EC report from Gaurav. The many people at the APNIC community are aware that APNIC situation is not really good, and then we concerned about that. If I'd like to have some further input or comment from the APNIC EC or about the situation, and how do you do the addressing this issue? Thank you.
Thank you, Akinori, on this. And I can take that, and then I'll probably ask Paul to add in later on. As I said early on, there's two things to it. One, there is a lot of misinformation and arguments floating around. The other one is for APNIC, the stability of the global registry system, the number registry, is the most important critical part of it. We want it to be stable. We want it to be reliable. and we don't want it to be fragmented. And otherwise, like if one piece breaks, other pieces start breaking as well, and it gets really unstable. So we have channeled our work mainly through the NRO, because that is the joint organization for all the RIRs. The NRO has mechanisms that have been built to support each other, not just technically, but also with exchange of personnel, training, know-how, and when there is a trouble or problem, even to a financial level in terms of loan. APNIC legal issues are APNIC legal issues. We can't really comment on it. They are working through it in the court system, and I would probably not speak too much about it. But we hope that they continue resolving it one at a time. They have a lot of lawsuits there. Our own thought process is we need to keep the RIR system stable, because that creates a big problem for anyone else. We are watching it closely, and after this, I'll have Paul update anything there, mainly through the NRO, as I said. And we do also feel sometimes that the amount of information and arguments coming out are not clear, and that is why we included it in our updates today. That is a valid reason for us to be worried about it. Paul, you want to add anything there?
I don't think I need to, Gaurav. I think you've said everything that I would have said. But if there's any other questions, I'm happy to help. Thanks.
Paul, this is Anupam. My question is that the joint fund which Gaurav has talked about, the joint stability fund which was being talked about, there is a commitment from the APNIC to give money to that fund as well in case there is a requirement. My question is that, is this an item which has been considered as in the books of accounts of APNIC as something which has been given, or is it going to be recognized as an expense when the need arises? Thank you.
It's a good question. It's actually just a provision. So each of the RIRs has nominated a provision of funds which could be potentially available, which would be made available if needed. So it's not a separate fund. It's not a separate bank account. It's just a provision and a promise, if you like, that up to a certain amount of funding, which was a joint several $1 million, contributed potentially to an RIR that becomes, and that's to any RIR, should it find itself in a financial difficult situation. So it's only when that funding was allocated by a decision of the boards of the RIRs that it would actually appear in financial reports. I hope that helps. Thanks.
This is Parhar from ISPI. I am taking cue and taking it forward from where Akinori left and Gaurav replied. APNIC has its own issues, which, like you rightly said, that their legal system is taking care or will take care, and we have no right to interfere in that. Yes, I have known that we have helped APNIC in various ways as a community, which is the rightful thing to do. However, I just want to bring to the notice of our community that recently, maybe a month or so back, there was a wild exchange of allegations by some people on the APNIC talk list. And when I saw those mails, I was pretty agitated as to, because the mails called APNIC community members as fools. I mean, just imagine, as people who do not do their due diligence, as people who do not know how to do their work. So, and anyway, I replied to whatever I could. But the point is that there seems I would like to apprise the community that there seems to be an agenda which is not visible maybe at this point of time. If someone knows, they can bring it out. And we need to be a little vigilant and ensure that some people for personal gains do not hijack our community.
Thank you, Parhar. I think that note is appreciated. We do enforce, or we do have a code of conduct on even for our mailing list, and we are not going to tolerate personal accusations or anything of that nature on the mailing list as well. But I think one of the reasons, as I said earlier, about us talking about it in the AMM and earlier, is to make sure our community is aware that, you know, there is a lot of misinformation out there, and to do their due diligence before they believe something, which I think is true of everything you hear on the internet these days. But in this case, this is more of a concern for us in that matter. I don't see anyone walking to the mic now, so I would like to thank everyone for participating, both online and on site. We will now go towards the more fun and more formalities of the end of the sessions here. So first of all, I'll invite Dr. Philip Smith to give us an update about the next apricot and APNIC.
I think Gaurav was right when he said fun, but anyway, I've never been called fun before, so I feel quite happy now after today. Yeah, so I think if you haven't noticed this around the conference hall over the last 5 days, you can't have been here. Okay, the folks who have been online probably haven't seen the pull-up banner. And of course, you saw Gaurav's report earlier about the rotation being resumed again. Rotation is not us turning around up here, but actually the progress of the APNIC conference and apricot around the Asia-Pacific region. This one doesn't move forward. There we go. So yes, so we're resuming the rotation. Apricot 2023, as I'm sure you know, along with APNIC 55, will be in Manila, the Philippines, where we were meant to have been 2 years ago until the pandemic intervened. Our host is going to be the Philippine Network Operators Group. The chair of PHNOG is right here, Mr. Achi, sir, if you please come and join me. So we're going to be doing this with Technical Training Week, 20 to 24th of February, and followed that by the conference week. So back to the familiar format, traditional format, but of course, as we've learned over the last 2 years, how we're going to run the event with remote participation as well. Venue is the Sofitel Philippine Plaza, Manila. For those of you who've been around for quite a while, you'll remember that one from 2009. A lot has changed since we were there. 2009 was kind of a way out in, well, not really middle anywhere at all. It's a lot different now. It's a lot roundabout. It's a fantastic venue. And so what I'm going to try and do is just show you some of the bits and pieces of the hotel. So the website, well, it is live. It's just that page at the moment. But when we get back from, well, this trip, and then this ICANN meeting next week, we'll get back and start populating various bits and pieces in the website. So stay tuned very soon for more information about the event. But you can have a look at that page. Looks very familiar, similar to the one in 2021. We're not changing anything because this is really, truly what we were trying to do 2 years ago. Where it is, for those of you who have never been to Manila, it's there. So green at the bottom, that's the airport, Manila International Airport. So it's pretty much the one in the middle of the city. It's about a 20-minute drive, 30 minutes in traffic, up to the top left of the screen there. Things have changed though. There's now the SM Mall of Asia, which is probably the biggest shopping center in Asia, if not the Southern Hemisphere. It's vast. Please don't go there because we will never see you again, or you'll end up very poor because it is absolutely massive. If you don't like the Sofitel, next door to it is a brand new hotel called The Line. So that'll be one of our venues for accommodation. There's also a Trip Hotel close by, it's about 10 minutes. And then for those of you who love the Hilton group, there is the Conrad, which is at the bottom end of the Mall of Asia. And of course, all the airport hotels as well. So all fairly reasonable, easy distance. And of course, close to the airport, so we don't have to deal with the famous Manila traffic. So just some pictures, but I think we've also included the video here. And I think better if we can just play that one, and then you can see. It's a couple of minutes, if you can bear with us.
Sand in my hair, your hand in mine. Everybody knows that love travels inside. I wanna pull you closer, whisper in your ear. Words come crashing in and change the atmosphere. Why don't you come with me? Taste this life of luxury. I wanna give you all of me. Give in to my reverie. 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 I want you to give in to my reverie. Oh yeah. Why don't you come with me? Taste this life of luxury. I wanna give you all of me. Give in to my reverie. Scent on your lips, sun-kissed eclipse. All the time we missed is now at my fingertips. I love the way you feel me, nothing can compare. Paris, London, NYC, call me and I'm there. Why don't you come with me? Give in to my reverie. Why don't you come with me? Taste this life of luxury. I wanna give you all of me, oh yeah. Give in to my reverie.
Okay, I know it's promoting the hotel, but it just gives you some idea of what's around the place. It's a huge conference facility, and it's probably the best food you can have anywhere in Manila. So it's certainly going by the Sparrow restaurant. It's pretty fantastic. So look forward to that. Is the slide coming back? Yeah. One more slide. So if I do that, yay. So before we finish off, as I said earlier, the host is PHNOG, and I would like the PHNOG chair, Sir Archie, to share a few words. Oh, this was your chance. That's what it was.
I really wanted to do that. On behalf of the local hosts, PHNOG, so thank you for the trust. And we're very excited to do this event. We already have our long and extensive to-do list. So I don't think the local team is very excited for me to come home because we're going to do a lot of stuff. But again, thank you. And we're very excited and we want to welcome you. Hope to see you as soon as possible. That will be next year. But I think I'm also here for something else. This is a good vantage point for a screen capture of some sort. So I will try to attempt as much as possible to get everybody in. I will try.
There's going to be a lot of this in Apricot 2023, so get used to it.
We'll probably do a couple of shots. Back up. Oh wait, I'm trying to practice this. If you saw me earlier, this is a super wide angle shot. I'll check. Okay. 1, 2, 3. One more. Needs to be perfect. The EC needs less. 1, 2. Oh, where did mine go? Oh, okay. Sorry, last one. You can stay there. Okay.
Quick, Gaurav wants to go to bed.
Sorry. 1, 2.
Okay, I think actually you'll need to figure out a way to do a hybrid selfie. You have 6 months.
1, 2. Oh, it should be there.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
right. Thank you, Archie. And hope to see you all in Manila. Thanks very much.
Yeah, next I have Paul for the vote of thanks.
So we really are coming to the end if it's time for the vote of thanks, and there are some slides I think I need. You don't want to do another selfie, Archie? Are there slides? Aha, okay. Excellent. Well, so after quite a few days, going all the way back through the training workshops, the APSIG, the APRIGF, and now the APNIC conference and the APNIC member meeting, this really is the end. So it's time to thank all those who've supported the series of events, starting with supporting organizations here in Singapore. SGNIC gave us a huge amount of help, and as did the Singapore Exhibition and Convention Bureau. So thanks sincerely to Singapore for all the help. ICANN came through with a gold sponsorship by aggregating quite a number of different contributions to all the events, and that's fantastic. It's great to have that support from ICANN and to be able to thank ICANN for that support here. Silver sponsors, IPv4.global by Hilco and Nixie, both came through as silver sponsors with that contribution. Community sponsors were APG, IDNIC, Google, and Huawei. Network sponsors, MyRepublic and ViewQuest. The coffee cart sponsor, which I hope everyone enjoyed, was Kentic. Fellowship sponsor, the APNIC Foundation. The Bronze Plus sponsor, Paraquam. Bronze AMM and in-kind sponsors, and a few coming back here as regulars: CNNIC, IPv4 Mall, Internet Society, JPNIC, PH Colo, TWNIC, APTLD, the IGF, and VNNIC. Partners, and we've heard from both of them today, and I really do hope the partnership is strengthened and will continue from here on. APRIGF, of course, and APSIG. So before I go on, let's give all of them a fantastic round of applause. Really, I will say that as a result of the current circumstances, this meeting being held in Singapore and under the circumstances was a lot more expensive than APNIC's normal meetings. But in fact, we recovered a great deal of that cost from the increased sponsorship. So really, it's more true than ever before that this meeting wouldn't have happened without the level of support that we got. And you know, I hope all will come back again. And we'll make these events bigger and better as time goes on. Okay, to quite a few others who've been involved, the NRO NC and SIG elections chair, Anju, who we've heard from, NRO NC and SIG elections scrutineers, Chris from RIPE NCC and Leslie from Aaron, APIX and AP Star for being here. The program committee for this event, it's a group of volunteers who have to work quite hard to put together the technical program, a series of events that were run through this meeting, and also helping with finding the keynote speakers. The SIG chairs and the co-chairs, as now designated as some of our elected leaders from the community, the fellowship committee and the fellowship mentors, all of the speakers and moderators, the APNIC EC, of course, the Number Council, alias Address Council, the staff of APNIC, the RIR colleagues who are here, quite a few of them, thanks very much for coming so far. The fellows who put their hat in the ring to receive a fellowship, and congratulations to those of you who did. I really hope that you've enjoyed your time here and that you'll be coming back and staying with us and becoming leaders yourself. Seriously, that's the whole point. Thank you to all. Thanks to everyone who participated here in the rooms here in Singapore and also remotely. I appreciate that it's pretty difficult to maintain focus from a remote location on an event that's happening far away. Possibly when you can see a lot of people having a good time. It's kind of tough, and I really do appreciate. We're really trying to make this meeting work, and to really include people from all over the region. So, you know, hopefully you don't have to. The point is, you don't have to really take all that time out and undertake all the expenses. Not possible for everyone. So to be able to participate remotely really is part of what we're trying to do here. And if we can do it better, if anyone in the room or the remote participants in particular have got some great suggestions for how we could do it better, then we'll take those on board, because we really want to make the remote participation work properly for everyone. So can we give all of these people and ourselves another big round of applause? Thanks. And we've just heard about it. The next conference will be APNIC 55, but held in the much bigger forum of Apricot 2023, hosted by our friends at PHNOG and by many others, supported by many others. Hopefully those who've been supporting here will come back next year, and then many more. And that will be 2023 in Manila from the 20th of February to the 2nd of March next year. Please do stay in touch with APNIC and also with each other. There's many channels here. I don't think we've got Orbit on the slide yet, but Orbit will be the channel as well for all of us to stay in touch with each other. And if they're particularly for APNIC members, and I thank you for your support, but particularly for members, please, if there's anything that you need from APNIC, do be in touch with anyone. If you know the right people, find them. If you don't, just try us. Okay, we will see you next time. I'll hand it back to Garab to formally close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. This is exciting. I think, as I said earlier, a lot of formalities in this last session, but also look forward to being back in Manila for April. that hotel looks familiar in this, just the building. Everything else seems to be very new. So definitely look forward for that. This event has been surprisingly successful. When we decided that we were gonna go to Singapore, I think we're estimating maybe 200, maybe less in-person participants because things were still not so clear. But we actually got almost 500 plus in attendance together with colleagues from APRIGF and APSIG and all the locals, SDNOG, plus the others who came along with APIX. And, I think the previous week, there was another peering forum in Singapore. So it's quite a good number of attendance there, even though a lot of folks have left by today. This is, of course, a resumption of what we previously were used to, but also this is probably a new sort of beginning because now we are very much focused on hybrid, where we may have people coming in person, but also being able to participate remotely equally well. And that opens up for a lot of folks, maybe, who are not able to participate or come into every meeting. And that is a new beginning. Because I think previously remote participation was, or set up for remote participation was more of an afterthought. So that is a good progress I think we made. There are 2-3 more things that I would talk about before the closing. Early this morning, we heard about the IPv6 and how long it's been since we've done the Global IPv6 Day. I think people in this room have a big role in making sure that it gets to become the mainstream. And I think it is there. And I think we just have to keep on the work for probably a while, because there's a lot of application and a lot of software that still don't talk V6. So looking forward to that. The other critical piece, and as I said, for the EC and even from the survey, the security is always is one of the key topics that all our members and all the stakeholders talk about. Sometimes I think there is a bigger expectations APNIC about security. And we are, the APNIC Academy and all the training and development work that is done is taking a much broader view. But at the end of the day, we are really still focused on security of the things that we can actually help with. Like with RPKI is a very critical part of not just your security, but also routing security and the overall stability of the internet. So that is an area where we will continue to look forward to, increasing adoption. And the earlier discussion today in this policy sake about fees were also really tied to that. Is we do want all of our regional addresses being used around to be to have ROAs, and also encourage all the ISPs, and especially the ISPs that are still in the room, to route validation. And we have trainers, we have resources, and we have other friends in the industry who would be very happy to help you getting started or getting ahead, give you some advice on it. Because I think we did a lot of ROA creations. Now let's make sure that we actually put that to some use. I think that is probably going to be a much bigger push for the next few years. And thank you to all the folks who keep working on it. So that is the other one. The third thing I do say is more on the APNIC business. The finances for APNIC have been up and down this year. And as Paul just said, this meeting was expensive. we're looking at a loss. I think we'll still have a loss, but we got a lot of friends and sponsors and partners come in to make it a success. And then we've also seen our membership numbers kind of grow and then ebb and then kind of stabilize again. So there are, I think we have a hard time adjusting to that, and we've seen inflation as well in various parts, and our costs in Australia have kind of gone up because the CPI in Australia is higher, but then the Australian dollar has lost exchange rate. So there's a lot of fluctuations around in what you may see of our cost and revenue. And we'll probably be thinking about how to make it a bit more stable in the coming years. So it is going to be tricky. We also have a couple of countries graduating from LDCs to developing country. We've traditionally, our policy is to give a 50% discount on fees to members in least developing countries. And when some of these countries graduate from LDCs to developing countries, their fees will go up. So we'll have to brace for that as well. Having said that, the other thing that, Paul mentioned in the Secretariat report earlier, but we also see the foundation taking off very well. We are still really grateful for the partnership with White Project and Junmurai, that the funding from the foundation and the trust has enabled us to do a lot more things and continue to help with activities all around the APAC. And that part of it is still growing. And pretty sure for those in person, there were booths or people talking about the APNIC Foundation out there, but also those who are online to go and look at the foundation and look at the activities they are doing. I think that is going to be an area where APNIC will continue to grow outside of our traditional area of number resources management and being the registry. So those are the areas I think, and we got the survey report. I did get a chance, being on the EC, being the chair has some perks. I get to see the report a bit before everyone else. And there are some really good highlights, but we will be taking the inputs from those survey. And we'll be following up with Brenda about some of the more specific things we may want to get from the survey, so that we can use that data to do the 4-year planning in the coming 4 years. Those were the things I had on my list here to kind of keep the community aware. Apart from that, I would also like to thank, in the list of people that Paul didn't thank, is our wonderful Secretariat staff that keep the engine running. So thank you to them. And then also the event staff at APNIC and the AV crew, under, I guess, the leadership of Tony and his crew. So Tony, Blondine, Molly, Sunny. I'm not so sure who is sitting in the AV desk today, but AV, thank you very much for getting this done in such a very short notice in Singapore. Let's give them a big hand, the crew from APNIC Secretariat that pull it off. Thank you very much. Having said that, I think we are done with the business. I would like to thank all the participants who participated remotely, all the newcomers. Hopefully we'll see you again at some point, either it is in person or remotely. And with that, we will see you in Manila, and the APNIC 54 is officially closed. Thank you very much. And I think Sunny is going to take over and make some housekeeping announcements, plus do the gifts for our sponsors.
Thank you, Gaurav. Why? I think that was the close of APNIC 54 member meeting. APNIC 54 still continues unto the night. Just would like to recognize the sponsors. I know Paul went through the slides and thanked everyone, but we do have an appreciation gift. So I'll call one at a time. And if you're in the room, please, if you're representing that organization, please come forward to receive your gift from Paul Wilson. So the first up is ICANN. Is anyone here from ICANN? No? Yes? Yes. Oh, thank you. Nixie? Anyone from National Internet Exchange of India? APG? IDNIC, APG, Arif. Yeah. Is anyone here from Google? Please. IPv4 Global and Hilco? Via Nick? Paraquim? Is anyone here from My Republic, the bandwidth provider? And also from ViewQuest, the second bandwidth provider, ViewQuest. Sanjeev receiving for ViewQuest. He's the man who did everything. Oh, my colleagues from APNIC Foundation. Anyone? No? Duncan? No, he's not here. IPv4 mall. Oh, hang on. Hannah is coming. Sylvia. Hannah is coming. Anyone from IPv4 mall? No? Internet Society? Aa na. Last time. Last time of sorry. APNIC. Just a few more. TW Nick? Yeah, yeah. You need to go there. PH Colo? Archie, you taking PH Colo? Well, thank you a lot for all the sponsors once again. It really adds a value to the conference, as you heard from Paul and our chair Gaurav as well. Just a few housekeeping notes. Thank you, Paul. That's it. Thank you. We have a closing social tonight, and the buses will depart at 6:45 from the lobby of Grand Hyatt. We have 5 buses, departs every 10 minutes. The social event is at Simply Retro Chimes. It's the heart of the city in Singapore. So we all hope we see you there, and you need a ticket. Hope you got a ticket, because there'll be ushers there, and there's a limited capacity of the venue, 200 packs only. So you must have a ticket to enter the venue. If you don't have a ticket, I have few spare ones here. You can come and get it from me. So hope we see you all at closing social, and that will be the end of APNIC 54 in Singapore. Thank you so much.
They're not gonna see me bleed, 'cause baby, I got you. I've been beaten to the ground, dragged across the dirt. I've been scared to live, 'cause some people never learn. But they're not gonna